Weather Center?
Thank you much, Scott.
Hey guys, welcome to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray, bringing you either your breaking news, your live news, and also keeping you guys up to date on some of the biggest headlines across the country and right here in the Philadelphia, Jersey, and Delaware areas. As you can see, we are in podium watch. I'm hearing that Fox News is waiting to potentially hear from Pete Hegseth. It's not quite clear what he could be addressing at this point in time. However, the stage has been set. The media has been waiting for quite some time for him to come on out. If that happens live in this hour, I will bring you right out to it and we can both hear what he has to say together. On the top right corner of the screen, you're taking a look at the U.S. Capitol. That is because Dr. Fauci, a name you probably haven't heard in years, testified in front of the Senate. They asked him a lot of different questions about the pandemic as it pertains to COVID-19, what we know about how the virus started, and everything that we know about what China may have in common with what happened there. And to be honest, he didn't answer many of their questions. I do believe he invoked the Fifth Amendment at least 111 times. I'll let you listen in to a little bit of how that went later on in the show, so don't go anywhere. And right on the bottom right of the screen, you're taking a look at our Eagles. Today is the first day of practice. This is training camp for them. Everybody's excited. I hear you can get out and watch them if you want to. You could just have to have a ticket. We'll be talking to our sports team about what we can expect for the season to come. And we'll even get to listen to some of the players and the coaches and the general manager talk about the season ahead. So I've got a lot planned and packed right here on Philadelphia Live for you guys. Keep in mind, this is a live interactive chat, so join us on any of our social media live streams. Talk to me in our comment section. I'll be able to read your comments, maybe ask our reporters or meteorologists a question for you. And if you'd like me to, I can give you guys a shout out. But let's get right into some of our big news of the day. I saw our helicopter, Skyfox, flying over the scene earlier today. I'm hearing that there may have been a shooting. So our reporter, Shawnette Wilson, got right out to the scene to try to bring us the latest. Shawnette, what did you find out about what's going on there?
So, Judea, that scene that you mentioned cleared up about an hour ago, and so we moved over here to Winslow Township Police because we are still waiting for official information from them on exactly what happened. You are correct, though. There was a shooting that happened in a neighborhood in Atco, which is in Winslow Township, that happened just around 2 o'clock this afternoon. We do have some Skyfox video of the scene there. When we arrived on scene, we found several police cars, crime scene units, and neighbors just standing out, also waiting for answers as to what exactly happened in their neighborhood and why it happened. We noticed while we were there that there was a black SUV that was parked next to a curb, and police were very focused on that black SUV. On the passenger side of it, again, which was up against the curb, you could see several yellow evidence markers, which at a crime scene, police will put out where there is evidence, and typically in a shooting, that is shell casings. But of course, anything else that may have been at the scene, they will mark with those yellow markers. Where I was standing, I could see about 9 or 10 of them. There may have been more, but that's what I could see from where I was standing in terms of how many of those markers were next to the SUV. So we've reached out immediately to the Camden County Prosecutor's Office and Winslow Township Police. They responded to me and said, we are both working on this. This is an active and ongoing investigation. A shooting happened, so we do know that a person was shot, but that is all they were able to disclose to us at that time, and they said that they would give us information shortly. Again, we are still waiting for that information, but as we were out in the neighborhood, just talking to neighbors and getting a feel for what they heard and saw, preliminary information, and again, this is kind of like that breaking news alert that'll come out when something happens. It will give you, information possibly from a call that came out, but not exactly confirmed by police. So preliminary information revealed that a male victim had suffered a gunshot wound to the chest. Initially, the report stated that it may have been a drive-by. That, again, not confirmed by police. Talking to some people on the scene, they did not seem to think that it was a drive-by. They seemed to think that this was an incident between two people who knew each other. But let me go ahead and play a piece of an interview from a dad who said that his kids were outside playing basketball. It's a suburban neighborhood here, where they have the basketball hoops up in the street there, and the kids were out there playing ball when they say that they heard gunshots.
They heard gunshots. They came inside, said, "Dad, we just heard some gunshots." And I said, "Nah, you didn't hear no gunshots. This is Echo. It don't really happen here. It's always a good neighborhood." And but then 3 minutes later, all these police start coming into the neighborhood. And I said, maybe they really did hear the gunshots. You know what I'm saying? So there was an officer in front of my house, so I asked him what happened, and he didn't tell me too much. He just said somebody did get shot. So yeah, I wish I didn't just blow them off when they came in and said they heard the gunshots.
All right, so that's from a neighbor there who was mentioning what his kids came in and told him about the shooting. I do know that we have some information just into the newsroom, Judea, that you may have that you can share about this shooting in Echo today.
Absolutely. In the spirit of breaking news, literally within minutes of you talking, we just got this in from the police department. They are confirming that the person that you're talking about, the victim in this case, has been killed. So if you don't mind, Shana, I just want to read you this press release just so we're as accurate as possible with what the police are saying at this point in time. They say that detectives are investigating a shooting that killed a man in Winslow Township this afternoon, reported Camden County Prosecutor Grace C. McCauley and Winslow Township Police Chief Donald Lemons. On Wednesday, July 29th, 2026, of course today, at approximately 2:03 p.m., officers from the Winslow Township Police Department responded to the unit block of Bromley Court in response to a person shot. Upon arrival, officers located a gunshot victim in a parked vehicle, identified as 33-year-old Dominicio Furtz of Winslow Township. The victim was transported to Cooper University Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased at approximately 3:01 p.m. The investigation is active and ongoing. No arrests have been made at this time. Anyone with information is asked to contact Detective Luis Cibaja of the Camden County Prosecutor's Office Homicide Unit, and then they provide a phone number for us to use. They also suggest that you can send anonymous tips to them online. So I just wanted to share that with you, literally coming in while you were giving us this report.
Yeah, we have it. It came out in an email.
Okay.
So I guess that's all we have.
Okay. All right.
The very tragic thing to have happened in that neighborhood, though, to hear that someone has lost their life. I can tell you people in the neighborhood were saying that they've lived there for a very long time. Nothing like this to their memory has happened in their immediate neighborhood, like on that street. And so they were shocked that it happened. They also did share, though, that, things like this can happen anywhere. It doesn't matter where you live. But it had not been their experience in their neighborhood for something like this to happen. So very sad to hear that someone's life has been taken. Hopefully police can bring this to a close very soon, and neighbors can feel at ease back in their homes.
Absolutely. I mean, this is somewhat closure for the family, but also we're see whether or not they name a potential suspect in this case. But Shawnette, thank you so much for what you were able to bring to us live, literally while the story is developing. If you hear anything else, just send me a text and maybe we can update our audience as the evening goes on by. Otherwise, you guys, you will see her in the 10 o'clock news. So keep us on your phones, your laptops, on your TV screen, if that's where you're streaming right now. We try to bring you the latest news, again, as it comes into our newsroom. That was Shawnette Wilson reporting for us. Now, yesterday, the weather was our biggest story, let's be honest. We had tornado warnings, we were on flood watch. The airport was having a number of different issues that were both due to weather, but also some internal issues. We're talking about system outages and whatnot. But I want to turn things over to our meteorologist, Scott Williams, who can keep us updated on what's happening today.
Yeah, that's right. Much improved from the same time yesterday. I believe we were talking about tornado warnings at this time yesterday. There were 2 confirmed tornadoes in Maryland. That's in the Talbot County area around Trappy, Maryland. There was an EF0 and an EF1 tornado there in Maryland confirmed from yesterday. Elsewhere across the area, we were looking at the heavy rainfall, those gusty winds, as well as torrential downpours in and around the Delaware Valley. A few spotty showers out there for tonight as we're still watching that circulation, that counterclockwise flow around the area of low pressure. It's now stationed in sections of upstate New York into New England. So other than that, we will see a few showers back in the forecast for part of the upcoming weekend. Right now, it's looking like Sunday into Monday could be a bit unsettled, but we will be looking at our 6th heat wave of the year as we get into the middle and end of next week. So those are some of your on your radar headlines that we're looking out for tonight. High temperatures for today maxed out around 86 degrees in Philadelphia. That's 2 degrees below average. Mid 80s in Wilmington. Reading reported a high today of 81 degrees. 86 at the airport in Atlantic City. And you can see just off to the left side of your screen, that is Dining Under the Stars in Media Delco. So looking pretty good for that. You can see folks are eating al fresco, so the weather is cooperating for that. Dining Under the Stars in Media Delco. So that's a live shot underneath those high temperatures that we're taking a look at across the Delaware Valley. Now, take a look at the area of low pressure. You can see it spinning counterclockwise there around Albany, New York, and sections of Vermont, New Hampshire. That's where the bulk of the rainfall has been confined for today. So numerous reports of flash flooding, flood warnings, flood advisories in that area dealing with the heavy rainfall today. There have been a few showers kind of pivoting back toward the region, but a lot of that is dissipating now that we're losing the daytime heating, of course. So these are instability, pop-up showers, a little bit of thunder in some of this earlier this afternoon in portions of the Poconos and Lehigh Valley, but most of that is drifting towards sections of Mercer County right now. So don't be surprised in Bucks County to see maybe one of those spotty showers moving toward the Doylestown area. A few of those showers were moving into Newcastle County, Kent County, and sections of Delaware as well. So the storm system pulls away, but we still will see the influence of some of that low-level moisture. So that will keep things partly sunny to mostly cloudy during the day for your Thursday. Can't rule out a spotty instability shower, but once again, most of us will stay dry. This area of low pressure finally moves out of here as we get toward the end of the week. So once again, spotty shower kind of dotting the map north and west, but most of us looking at a dry evening, albeit partly sunny right now to mostly cloudy. 81 degrees, the current temperature for Philadelphia. Live look outside of our studios here in Old City. We saw a passing shower a couple of hours ago, but once again, most of us are remaining dry. Low temperatures for tonight, mid to upper 60s for the suburbs, right around 70, 71 degrees tonight for Philadelphia, which is on par with where we should be for this time of year. So once again, spotty shower can't be ruled out for tomorrow. The proximity of that area of low pressure pulling away, but temperatures will still be below average for tomorrow. And down the shore, over the next several days, those temperatures for Thursday, 81 degrees, 81 on Friday, looking pretty good. Can't rule out a spotty shower tomorrow and then again on Sunday, but over the next several days, water temperatures will be in the low 70s. So the bottom line as we take a look at this 7-day forecast, turning hot again by Friday, Saturday, upper 80s to around 90 degrees. More humidity for the upcoming weekend, and we're looking at that threat for some scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm Sunday into Monday of next week. Then by next Wednesday, high of 90 degrees. And look at this, we're talking about our 6th heat wave of the year by middle and end of next week. So all we need are 3 consecutive days with temperatures at or above 90 degrees, and you can clearly see that's in the forecast by the middle and end of next week. So we've got 2 more days to get through for the month of July, and then we kick off the month of August this weekend. So the summer, it is rapidly dissipating. So, I mean, we're already talking about back to school. We're talking about Labor Day. I'm like, no, we can't.
Right. The kids are screaming that too. My niece and nephews, they're down south. They go to school, I believe, this Monday. And of course, our kids up north got a little bit more time, but dang, summer is just like speeding by.
Yeah, I have nieces and nephews, and they're going back to school pretty soon too. I prefer the after Labor Day. If I had to vote on, do you go to school before Labor Day or after? I say after Labor Day. I like after Labor Day.
Yeah, I still feel like August is a little too hot, even up here. I mean, as you said, our 6th heat wave. And it's so interesting to me, like, we would be celebrating it getting warm again, or a lot of people were like, oh, when are we going to get relief? But Scott, you and I remember when we did get some relief, the people were saying it was too cold. They said it felt like fall. So what do we really want? Do we know?
I don't think we know. So
no, not at all.
We needed the rain. We got the rain. Now it's like too much rain.
Too much. Yeah, yesterday was crazy. Somebody said it looked like a typhoon. You guys are wild as well. Scott, thank you so much for weighing in, sharing our forecast with us. We'll see you later on in the show, just in case you guys are just now joining us and missed it. You'll hear it again from them a little later on. Thanks, Scott. And for those of you guys who are streaming with us, please let me know where you're watching us from. We have a lot of people who join us locally. We're talking about Pennsylvania, the Philly area, New Jersey, South Jersey area, and even Delaware as well. But I also know that we have a lot of people joining us sometimes around the country and sometimes around the world. So if you're not shy, let me know what city or town you're watching from. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Ooh, Erickson actually already replied, says watching from the Philippines. I told you, a little bit of everywhere. Arizona's in the house too. Shout out to Tumbleweed. Let me know. Continue to chime in our live stream chat. We are on Facebook, TikTok. We're also on Instagram and YouTube. You can write us anywhere. I will see it, and I can give you a shout out right here. Oh, we've got Southern California, the Beaumont area as well. Tumbleweed says, you used to live in Philly. Okay, and you still keep up with Philly news. Good for you and good for us. You guys, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, I got something interesting for you. KFC. For a long time, a lot of us loved it. Some of you guys still love it. I'm hearing that Colonel Sanders, his personal property, has actually been off to the auction, and people are paying a pretty penny to get a piece of it. A little piece of KFC history. We'll check in with our Fox News reporter on what's going on there when we come back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. We've got more people joining us in the live stream chats. I just want to give a shout out to Ashley White on Facebook. So she's watching from North Philadelphia. Again, we've got Singapore in the house. Brainiac on TikTok chimed in. We've got a Go Birds from Jason. Go Birds. Mike Ferrer says he loves my suit. Appreciate that. And Tumbleweed says he's got direct ties to Philly. Says Pennsylvania is beautiful. We appreciate all of you guys watching with us. Keep letting me know, chiming in where you guys are watching from, and if you have any questions for our reporters, our meteorologists, I'm able to give those shout outs, but I'm also able to get your questions and your points across. This is an interactive news stream. All right, so I was talking to you guys about KFC before the break, not because I'm hungry or anything like that, because apparently Colonel Sanders, who, by the way, you guys, real person, I didn't know that, a lot of people didn't, been giving away, his family anyway, is giving away some of his personal items, and I hear that they're selling for a pretty penny. This is decades in the making. I want to get things over to one of our Fox News reporters, Oliviana Calmes. Oliviana, you have been keeping up with this, and like I said, it's like a mind-boggling thing for some of us who didn't even know he was real, but to know now you can have a piece of KFC history is crazy. What are you hearing?
It is. It's crazy. I mean, the fact that people don't know he was a real person really means that there was a big legacy left there. So these items that were auctioned off from a big collection that was gifted from the Sanders family to another family, they're finally getting rid of all of it at once. These are pieces of history and business history too, because of really the empire he created and what he did with Kentucky chicken that we now know years later. So a lot of memorabilia was auctioned off, but these were things he used every day, like handwritten notes, recipe cards, even that iconic ribbon bow tie that we see. Collectors and KFC lovers headed to Kentucky this week to bid on hundreds of Colonel Sanders' personal belongings. Hundreds more participated online.
And they had all of this in basements and closets and everything, and decided it was time to let the world, who loves the man, have an opportunity to buy the memorabilia.
Items offering a glimpse into the Colonel's life led to some big-time bidding wars. For example, his 1964 planner sold for $30,000. The 1955 Kentucky Colonel certificate brought in about $23,000, and his clip-on bow tie went for $8,000. But it was the personal planner that sparked some of the biggest buzz.
What do you think is the coolest item that's out there?
Probably that planner.
Containing a handwritten list of 11 herbs and spices. We're not saying they're the herbs and spices, but you decide what you think they are.
Besides the collectibles, many of the items also documented how Colonel Sanders built the business that became KFC.
When he introduced the pressure cooker, which was never intended for fried chicken, but when he introduced that, he turned it from 30 minutes to 10 minutes, and that's what really revolutionized his ability to service the fast food growing industry.
I got to chat with Colonel Sanders' great-granddaughter Elizabeth, who came to watch the auction firsthand.
I really wanted to see the people who were going to be purchasing my grandpa's stuff, hit the items that have been around for so many years, and it's just been overwhelming.
A lot of cool items there. My favorite is that ribbon bow tie that was sold for $8,000. But there are a couple items left. They're the big ticket items. His old home and his wife's original restaurant right next door are still on auction. The bidding, it's sealed, ends this Friday at midnight. And then we'll get to see who the new owners of those two buildings are. Judea?
This is so cool. Like, again, just because it's decades in the making, it's a restaurant that a lot of us know, love, especially as children. So I just have a quick question. I don't know if they maybe answered this or not. Why are they selling right now? Is it just for nostalgia's sake, or they just need the money? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, that's a question I asked that auctioneer as well. And he said that in the past they have tried to sell the house. They've had a lot of interest on it, but they didn't have a seller at that point for the price range they were hoping for. And now they're trying to sell the house and the restaurant again. And this auctioneer basically convinced them, you know, if you guys aren't going to do anything with this, it was basically all in basements and closets. And so they decided now it's time to share all this history with the world. And with those bidding prices, you could tell people are very interested in getting their hands on a piece of this.
Absolutely, $8,000 just for the bow tie. I heard you talking to Bill Anderson, one of our reporters, anchors, and whatnot here earlier, and he was talking about he needs the original recipe, the original chicken recipe. I wonder how much that would sell for. This is fun. Yes. All right.
Oh yeah, and there was some speculation, Judea, on whether the recipe was in some of the items. So we'll see if someone comes out trying to make a replica of KFC chicken.
Hey, I wonder if anybody who gets the original restaurant could get that original recipe. Again, Oliviana, thank you so much for sharing what's going on. A fun story just to lighten things up a little bit, but also keep you guys in the loop on what's going on. Oliviana, appreciate you. And a little fun fact, and maybe I should have known that he was a real person, but I remember when I was a kid, my older sister, she's 14 years older than me, she worked at KFC, and she actually ended up getting a scholarship to go to college from KFC. So we took a family trip to Kentucky, and fun fact, the bluegrass does not mean that the grass is blue, it's music. Well, that was fun to figure out. But the house that she's standing in front of, we actually got to visit. So again, I don't know why I saw all of these things. I heard about the scholarship, but it just didn't put two and two together that, hey, this is actual real person and not just a fictional character for the restaurant. But fun stuff that's out and about. Now, if I can also just use this time selfishly, I would like to start a petition for KFC to bring back the flavor stations. That was like that chicken that was smothered in the barbecue sauce or the hot sauce, whatever sauce you wanted. Let's bring that back. That was a good idea. You guys, still a lot more news ahead. When we come back from this break, I want to talk to you about this hearing with Dr. Fauci. So remember the pandemic, COVID-19, and the doctor from the CDC that was keeping us all updated on what was going on in terms of guidelines, who needed to wear a mask and what kind of mask. We'll get into what he said on Capitol Hill when we come back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. You guys, we're taking a live look out at Capitol Hill, the U.S. Capitol building. It looks really beautiful out there in D.C. But earlier today, there was a big hearing as a Senate committee that wanted to hear from Dr. Anthony Fauci. Again, this is probably a name that you haven't heard in a while, but during the pandemic, during the COVID-19 pandemic, he was a face we probably all saw every single day, keeping us updated on what new policies were in place, and when the masks rolled out and everybody had to figure out what kinds you needed, who had to wear one, how often we had to wear one, where you had to wear one too. He was the voice that we were hearing from, like I said, just about every single day. Well, today, they had him back on Capitol Hill for this hearing. They wanted to know a little bit more about what he knew about the origin of COVID-19 and answer any questions as it pertained to the pandemic. Only problem is, he did not want to talk. Take a listen.
Kevin Esvelt, who's a CRISPR scientist at MIT, also wrote about this gain of function. I implore every scientist, funder, and nation working in the field, please stop. No more trying to discover or make pandemic-capable viruses. No more experiments likely to disseminate blueprints for plagues. Dr. Fauci, would you like to at least answer this one question for us today and let us know whether or not you've changed your mind on whether or not the benefits of gain-of-function research outweigh the risks?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
The chairman has denied your assertion of privilege and directed you to answer, but you nonetheless refuse and stand on privilege despite the existence of the pardon. The committee will have to consider after this hearing what appropriate action should be taken against you for the failure to testify after being directed to do so. It's against the law to obstruct an investigation of Congress. There will be repercussions to your refusal to testify today. Senator Peters. You're not recognized. You're not recognized. If you are unruly, you will be removed from the proceeding. You are not recognized, and you are not recognized, sir. Sir, you are not recognized. You are not recognized. Security, we'll hold off, but you will respect these proceedings. You were told not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table, and we told you you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said, sit quietly, you are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear what the attorney has to say.
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again, he will be removed from the room. This testimony is from Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise, his lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him.
Yes.
All right? Yeah. But the attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered, for a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room. Let the record state that Dr. Fauci will still have the advice of the other half a dozen attorneys that he brought along today.
Spicy moments captured right there. Dr. Fauci would go on to invoke his Fifth Amendment right, so I don't want to answer this question 111 times during that hearing. And as you could see, it made a lot of people angry, including Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. He actually says that he wants to hold him in contempt and thinks that he should be charged. So he says that the Senate committee will be having a vote soon, I believe next week, on contempt and whether or not Dr. Fauci will have to face a penalty for choosing not to answer their questions during that hearing. Now, we also got to hear from other lawmakers and even President Donald Trump after this hearing. And I want to start closer to home. So Senator John Fetterman actually got to talk in front of the media. They stopped him right after this hearing to ask how did he think things went. And he says, to be honest, he was not surprised. Take a listen.
Fetterman, we just talked to you really quickly. Are you disappointed that Dr. Fauci pled the Fifth and didn't answer any of your questions?
I mean, there weren't really any surprises. I mean, there were going to be, he's going to, of course, go with the Fifth, and then there would be a lot of theater. But for overall, I used this as an opportunity for reflection. You know, as when I was LG, we weren't really unsure how the world looked back in 2020, but you know, this idea, the idea that it was a lab generated, well, that's the fringe, that's crazy, that's just not true. To me, at that time, it seemed to make sense. I mean, it seems pretty much more, but overall, I just said that I hope the next time we're in this situation, that, you know, something comes from a different side, follow that, hey, maybe that could be the truth. Now it seems like more and more people are beginning to acknowledge that, yeah, very likely that would have come from the lab, and we're never going to get a real honest answer from the Chinese, of course, and certainly they'll never be held accountable the way I think it should. But overall, how sad that our nation became so hyper partisan, you know, when we're under siege of the virus at that time.
Do you think that this... Okay, so Senator Fetterman is a Democrat, so let's also hear from the Republican side of things. John Thune had some remarks afterward as well. Take a listen.
It takes 60 votes to break a filibuster on a contempt of Congress resolution. Are you for contempt of Congress for Anthony Fauci, and based on that?
I think it's first off, it'll be a question for Senator Paul as the chairman of the HISGAC committee and the members of that committee. But certainly his answers today were completely inadequate, and I think that's certainly an option. I think that's option that ought to be available to us. What he did today in front of that committee was inexcusable.
And it's escalated all the way up to President Donald Trump when he was having a meeting on a completely other topic in the White House. The press pressed him about this. What did he think about those remarks from Dr. Fauci? Take a listen.
Mr. President, thank you. Dr. Fauci invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 100 times today. Senator Rand Paul said he's going to hold a vote on holding him in contempt of Congress. Do you think Dr. Fauci should face repercussions for this?
Well, I watched the whole thing today, but more importantly, I was a part of the whole Fauci. I inherited Fauci. He was here from the 1980s, so I had him for a period of time. And I disagreed with him on a lot. I would have had to close down the whole country if I listened to him. I went the Federalist way, which is basically let the governors decide. And generally speaking, the Republican governors did very well. The Democrat governors did not very well. But Fauci wanted to have nobody wearing masks, if you remember, and then everybody had to wear 5 masks, as many masks as you could get. I mean, he made a lot of mistakes. And he wasn't a big factor for me. He was a very big factor for Biden. And if you remember, even though we were prime time in terms of that whole disaster of COVID, far people died fewer in the Trump administration than in the Biden administration. We ran it well. Operation Warp Speed was talked about as being one of the great success stories anywhere in the world, actually. And we did a good job. But many more people died under Biden than died in the Trump administration from COVID. COVID was a disaster, but Fauci did not help.
Mr. President, do you think that the DOJ should reopen the investigation into the auto pen, specifically pertaining to Fauci?
Well, the only thing you can really think about is the auto pen, because the most powerful thing a president has, they say, is the power of pardon. So he was pardoned by Biden. And I respect that. I know how powerful it is. It's a very powerful, they say it's literally the most powerful thing a president has. Now, whether or not I sign my things directly, always, almost everything I sign directly. You're witness to many of them. He signed very few. The only thing I know that he signed was Hunter Biden's pardon. But I'm not sure that he signed, he probably didn't sign this one. So I can't tell you what the law is. I've heard that you have to have a lot of proof. You need to have letters. You need to have all sorts of things, that the person operating the auto pen has to know exactly what it's all about. He didn't know what it was about because I saw him testify.
So maybe there's something on the auto pen. Other than that, the power of pardon is very powerful.
So could Dr. Fauci be required to come back and testify again, be forced to answer those questions? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But as you can hear there, we've got the side from the Democrats, side from the Republicans, as well as the side from President Donald Trump himself. You guys, with that being said, we are going to take a quick step back. When we come back, I want to get into this new news from the American Red Cross. Apparently, there's a blood shortage, a supply shortage here in the U.S., and this isn't the first time, but this is a very big deal for anybody who may need help, trauma help in the future. We'll get into it with one of our Fox News reporters when we come back. Welcome back into Philadelphia Live, you guys. I'm Judea Murray. I'm hearing from the American Red Cross that they are declaring a national blood supply shortage, and this is only the second time in its total history of this happening. But obviously a very big deal, because imagine being a trauma patient and you're just trying to get help. You need this blood. It's nowhere to be found. We're talking about a 4-summer-year low. So I want to touch base with Amy Gallo, one of our Fox News reporters. You've been keeping up with this. How severe is this particular shortage?
Judea, the Red Cross says it only has less than a 1-day supply of O-positive blood. Now, this is a big deal because that's the kind of blood that you tend to use whenever there is an emergency transfusion going on, right? It's that blood type that you can use for most surgeries, so very much needed, and it's down to 25%, and this is the lowest we've seen it since back in 2022 during the pandemic. The Red Cross is the single largest blood supplier in the U.S. It collects about 13,000 units of red blood cells and 3,000 units of platelets every day, supporting about 2,500 hospitals across the country. For reference, a unit of whole blood is roughly 1 pint, and while the organization is still receiving thousands of donations a day, they say it's simply not enough to keep up with hospital demand.
What a hospital needs is variable depending on the hospital, but as one example, we are seeing during this summertime about 3,500 units more per week that's being requested from our hospitals compared to this time of year last year. And so when you compare that to what we collected a day, that's about a 20% increase. And so that is really substantial.
It's not unusual for the Red Cross to struggle with donations in the summertime. Regular donors may go out of town and fewer schools or workplaces host blood drives, but it's also the time when hospitals see a higher demand for blood, with summer travel accidents increasing that need. And it's why the Red Cross is urging all eligible donors, especially those with type O blood, to donate as soon as possible. They say just 3 more donors at every blood drive this summer could fix the supply shortage.
I just thought that there was just like some large refrigerator somewhere where they store all the blood samples and then they like take them when people need them. I had no idea that they like constantly need to be refilling the supply chain. So yeah, I was super surprised to read that there was a shortage and wanted to do my small part to reduce the shortage.
If we are able to help some people get blood, to get healed, to get help, to get transfusions, then we should hopefully are willing to do that.
Now, a good thing is that blood donor eligibility has expanded over the last several years. So let's say you tried to donate 5 years ago and were told no, it might be a good time to check if you are now eligible to donate blood. And if you do decide you want to give, you can head to the website or you can also call the number you see there on your screen. Back to you, Judea.
Amy, would those be the same steps that you take to find out if you're even eligible in the first place?
Best thing to do would be have a conversation with them. This is an organization you can call at any time. So I would call your local organization office. I'm right here in Orlando. We've got an office here. They are all over the country. Give them a call. Ask them whether you have blood type that can be donated or what could keep you from donating your blood.
This is really helpful, and I know a lot of people, especially a lot of young people, we actually don't even know what our blood type is. So this is just a reminder to go out, get checked. Well, I mean, let's be honest, some of us are still calling our parents to figure out who's my primary care physician. So, you know, it's rough out here. But we're trying to educate you guys, but also make sure that all of us are helping the next person. Amy, thanks so much for giving us this report. You guys, she's reporting all the way out from Orlando, Florida for us here in Philadelphia. So yes, that is a big one. For quite some time, we're talking summer after summer after summer, we're seeing that we're running short. She said we have just about a day's supply of O+ blood. That is crazy, O positive blood. So, you know, as she mentioned there, head to their website. You can check in with your local American Red Cross and see whether or not you are eligible. I know for myself, I'm one of those people that she mentioned a couple of years ago. I was not eligible. I've always been underweight for my age, my height, my weight. And so, you know, maybe it is about that time that I check back in to see if now I'm okay. Can I do it? You're taking a look there at the information that she was just giving out. If you want to call to book an appointment, the number is right there on your screen, 1-800-RED-CROSS, or you can go to redcrossblood.org. All right, you guys, keeping the ball rolling. We've had a lot of heavy things happen today. As you all know, Senator Lindsey Graham was finally laid to rest today out in South Carolina. They had part of his funeral services yesterday in D.C., but they brought things back down south where he was originally from, and we got to see what that, you know, transfer really looked like before he made it to his burial ground. So we'll check in with what happened there, give you guys a look, and also talk to you a little bit more about this trial going on right now for a mother accused of murdering her 3 young children. Her ex-husband has been on the stand for the last couple of days. So we'll check in with that too. Welcome back to Philadelphia. Today, the world said its final goodbyes to Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. The Republican died a couple of days ago at 71 years old, and since then, the entire world has been in mourning. We're talking about people who are on both sides of the aisles. Democrats and Republicans have been sharing what he really meant, how some of his policies were out there, and what he fought for oftentimes was a little out there, it was a little bold, but everybody seems to have kind memories to share about him. As a matter of fact, you know how a lot of people say some people have a silver spoon in their mouth, they're born with a silver spoon? They joke that he was born with a plastic fork in his mouth. So as you can see, they had a service before they ended up bringing his casket into the church where they had that final funeral. This was a private service for family, for friends, for people who truly knew him. Now, again, a lot of people in attendance, even to all of his ceremonies and services in DC yesterday. President Donald Trump delivered his eulogy. A lot of people, again, were keeping their eyes on what was happening there. Now, a lot of people talked about his humor, his work ethic. They said that he loved people. One of the biggest things that everyone tried to get done yesterday, and they're still working on right now, we're talking about lawmakers here, they say that he was working toward trying to have sanctions against Russia. It was one of the last bills that he had presented. And so it's right now, even with Democrats and Republicans, an effort from all of them to try to get that passed. They say it would show America's support for Ukraine, but also pay homage to the kind of work that he was doing before he ultimately passed away. As you all may know, his sister will be taking over his seat. She's already been sworn in. She says that she's up for the job, and she's sure that she can make sure the kind of policies that he would have wanted to go into effect are the ones that she pushes for. We also know there's going to be a special election held to find out who will take over his seat in the interim and who will take over his seat permanently when the official election happens this November. But you guys, that is the latest there on Senator Graham. I also want to get you caught up on this big case that's happening with a mother. Her name is Lindsay Clancy. They say that she murdered her 3 children, and she's actually admitted to doing that herself as well. But now they're trying to determine whether or not mental health played a role. So as you can see there in the courtroom today, she burst into tears. They say her ex-husband did too, and that's because the prosecutors, they played the 911 call in which her ex-husband was telling the dispatcher what he believed his wife had done. Now, their children were very, very young, all under the age of 5, the youngest one being just a couple of months old. They say that she used exercise equipment to kill her children. But they're also suggesting, at least her lawyers and even her ex-husband, they're suggesting that it was mental health that played the biggest role in this. You know, postpartum depression. Well, they say that she had postpartum psychosis. So we're hearing for the last couple of days this big testimony. He's been on the stand for a couple of days now. His name is Patrick Clancy, from what he remembered seeing and what he remembered talking about with the police, with the dispatchers, and even with his lawyers. So I want to let you listen in as one of the lawyers brought out some evidence. Unfortunately, those evidence markers were talking about the children's clothing, what they were wearing, their pajamas, when this murder is carried out. Take a listen.
Would be the clothing Cora Clancy was wearing the night of January 24th, 2023. First, the pajama pants. Pajama shirt. And then the pink robe. We could have these marked as one exhibit.
They may be admitted. Thank you.
And then Dawson's clothing. We have dinosaur underwear for the record. And a gray t-shirt or shirt, long sleeve shirt. Could have this as the next exhibit, please.
That may be admitted.
And then Callan's pajamas. As the next exhibit, please.
That may be admitted.
Yellow exercise band found with Dawson. Can I have this as the next exhibit, please?
That may be admitted.
Black exercise band found with Cora. Could I have this as the next exhibit, please?
That may.
And then the blue exercise band found with Callan. We could have this as the next exhibit, please.
That may be admitted.
Your Honor, we would ask that the 911 call be played.
All right. Members of the jury, I just kind of wanted to give you sometimes in a trial, evidence that is introduced that produces in jurors an emotional response. For example, it's understandable to feel sympathy and empathy when you hear or see certain evidence. But as jurors who have taken an oath to follow the law, I'm instructing you that the law says you must separate any emotional reaction on your part from the informational value and weight of the evidence. You must not be influenced in any way by the unpleasant nature of some of the evidence, including testimony, including exhibits. And so you must find the facts, in this case, based only on the evidence. And so you can't find facts or base your decision on sympathy, anger, passion or prejudice or pity for or against either side. Rather, your verdict must be based solely on the evidence that is introduced in this case in my instructions and any other limiting instructions. And I'll go into that, but I just kind of wanted to remind you of that as we go through this. All right, at this point, we're going to play the exhibit, which is, I believe, the 911 call. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I want to remind everyone that there is a order entered by the court regarding this matter. It's not to be recorded. It's not to be broadcast. And it's not to be reproduced in any way, subject to any sanctions that would go along with the violation of that court order. So I just kind of remind everybody that order applies to the media and applies to the public. So I just kind of wanted to remind everybody in regards to that. So with that, Commonwealth?
All right, you guys, so this, what you were just hearing, is what led right before they played that 7-minute 911 call. And if I can just run through it with you, because during court, they actually turned off the microphones. This was something that they didn't want live streamed to the public. But reporters were able to give us an idea, walk us through what we were listening into at the time. So let me just paint the picture for you all. They say that the mother, she ended up telling her husband that she needed to go to the pharmacy, pick up some medicine, and the children were eating dinner at the time. So while he's at the pharmacy, she's with the children, and they say that is the time that she chose to murder all 3 of her children. They say she then tried to take her own life, and somehow, somewhere, that is where the husband comes home. He notices her first. He calls 911, freaked out, just trying to make sure that she gets help, and she tells him that the children are in the basement. She doesn't tell him that the children are not alive. So he's still on the phone with 911 when he goes into the basement and finds his children had been strangled. I apologize for the details of this case, but this is what we're hearing from the courtroom. So he says that is when he finds his children. He's still on the phone with 911. He's obviously not in good spirits as he's trying to tell them what's going on, and they rush to the scene and figure everything out. I also want to make sure that I'm being clear, and this is what you were just hearing from the judge right before we came back out here to the newsroom. He wanted the jurors to try to separate the emotional response that they may have from seeing those small children's pajamas. Because that is not, they're not trying to determine whether or not this woman killed her children. She has already admitted to doing that. What they are being asked to determine is whether or not she was suffering from some sort of postpartum psychosis, so a mental health crisis, an illness, or whether she meant to do this, she had planned it out, it was methodical, that, you know, it was intentional that she killed them. Now, her ex-husband has been on trial for the not on trial, he has been a witness for the last couple of days, talking about what happened in this case and what he remembers from the situation. He has talked about the medication that she's been prescribed, and he himself says he doesn't think that she is evil. He doesn't think that she did this on purpose. He has time and time again referenced her mental illness and said that he believes that that is why this happened. Now, since finding out that the children were killed, they have divorced. He has remarried, but he is back in the courtroom to testify on her behalf. So just getting caught up on what's happening in that particular case. Her name is Lindsay Clancy, and we will keep our eyes on what's happening in that situation if you are interested in hearing more. Now, I know that this was very, very heavy, so we're going to take a commercial break. You guys, you and I can take a step back from this news. We'll get you caught up on some of the other news of the day in just a second, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back into Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. This is Jake Leonard.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
I figured the people might need a palate cleanser
Yes.
after what we were just
Yes.
talking about. So I wanted to
100%.
lighten things up, bring you
Yes.
on over. Every time we see Jake, that means some trending topics
Yes.
are coming up.
Yes.
What are people scrolling on, reading, watching, and whatnot out there on
Yeah,
social
so
media?
something really interesting that I saw trending
Mhm.
was Meta, specifically Meta stocks. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
My money.
And yeah,
Okay.
anytime there's something about Meta, I'm like, what's going on? So it's actually not good. They're actually doing
Really
not as
bad.
well. Yes, I pulled up the exact numbers so
Mhm.
I could get them right. But okay, so basically they came up today. They're still obviously doing very well, very successful, but it seems that their use of AI and kind of their focus on that aspect is hurting them in other areas. So basically today it came up, the revenue is 60.80 billion. So I mean they're still doing
poorly
they're
is
still doing
relative.
they're still doing great. So this is up 28%, so like year over year. So and it is important to note, recently the Wall Street Journal did come out with estimates and they are beating that. So in terms of the revenue, the Wall Street Journal estimated about 60.2 billion. So they are, a little bit ahead of that. But the net income is 15.85 billion, which is down 14%. So it's just like, it's interesting, obviously, still very successful, but in the grand scheme of things, maybe the way that they're focusing on AI isn't working in the way that they're doing. People maybe aren't wanting to invest. I don't know. It's just like interesting stuff.
One of the latest headlines that I saw with Meta as it pertains to the AI, they were talking about the glasses and how some people are still feeling uncomfortable about maybe potential surveillance that can be done with the
100%.
glasses. So maybe that has something to do with it, with those articles coming out.
I mean, like Meta, like a lot of other companies are probably trying to figure out what's going on with the AI and how to navigate. So, I mean, I feel like it's normal for a company as big as this to maybe like not be completely on their feet with all this new technology yet. But I don't know. It's just interesting to see how, the public is responding, and people like, maybe I'm not going to invest now where they would have invested like a year ago. So I don't know. Interesting stuff.
I'm interested in seeing how Meta responds, if they do. Cash is obviously king.
Yeah.
Bottom line is
100%.
usually the biggest thing for businesses. And so even though this dip, like I said, is relative, it still is one.
Right.
So whether or not they'll make any changes or if this is just a blip in the road.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
Anything else you're looking at?
Well, I have to mention while I'm up here, because this is something we discussed at great length. I saw the Odyssey this morning.
How was it?
It
Wait,
was-
this morning?
Yes, I saw it this morning. I
Isn't
woke
it
up.
long?
Yes, I woke up. I went because there's only like a few IMAX theaters, and I wanted to get the full experience. So I went to Cherry Hill. It was at 10. It started at 10. It ended like about 1. So then
Oh, you had to rush.
I know I did, but I was happy I was able to do it. I really liked it. Highly recommend if you can see it in IMAX. It really adds
That's when
a
you
lot
see
to it.
like everything
Yes.
all around you. It's
Yes.
like you're in the movie yourself.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was like doing a little research after, and it's a lot of positive reviews. People are saying Oscars is going to sweep, but there are some people that are saying that they feel like it's not super accurate to like the original mythology of it. Like a lot of people are saying a big theme of the original Odyssey kind of was Odysseus and his trickery, and they feel like that kind of didn't come through in the movie. Yeah, I really like, from a movie standpoint, it was incredible, but I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So maybe like as an adaptation, people just aren't completely happy. So
Okay. But overall, you weren't mad at it.
yes, I wasn't mad at it. And
What
you know,
about
it is interesting. I don't know what's gonna happen, but not too long ago, I did see Elon Musk on, I think it was X, saying that he was gonna make his own version of the Odyssey. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Is he in production? You know what? Anybody can do anything.
So
It's never too late to be what you could have been, even if it is a film director. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
For giving us a look at what's happening, what's trending. Even with the Odyssey, I still have to go see it. That's on my bucket list, and apparently I need to go see it in the IMAX. Now, from entertainment to sports, I want to get into what's happening today. You guys, Eagles training camp is among us, and apparently this is like, I don't want to say it's like the Super Bowl, but everybody here is making me feel like it is. They're telling me that this is an exciting time. They can't wait to see how I react. And I'm just like, why is that? What is it about Philly's training camp that's so different? So let's touch base with our sports team, Breland Moore. She was actually out there. Breland, I heard you got to talk to the players. You were hearing from some of their press conferences. What is it like out there?
Yeah, well, I'm really curious to know why people are hyping up training camp, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I also don't know. So
okay. I thought I was missing something. I was like, what?
I mean, I guess it's fun. I don't really know. I was just curious to see like what the insight. I don't really get that, and I've covered multiple NFL teams, and they're all kind of training camp. You're there every day. It's hot. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I don't necessarily think. Yeah, I don't really think that you're missing anything per se, but today was kind of like that little. There always is an excitement for the first day of training camp because everybody is coming back for the summer, and it's one of those things where at the end of this, for the first time, you know, you talk about OTAs and other off-season activities going on. That's different because there's always a little bit of a break or there's always something. Not this time. This is where the work really, really starts, and you're building blocks for a potential playoff run, for a potential Super Bowl run. All of that for every single team in the league starts right now in these kind of dog days of the summer in late July here. So that's exciting. I don't really know how exciting it is for like the fans, but for media and players, of course, it's nice for them to get back to work and see some consistency there. Really interesting conversation with Jalen Hurts today. One of the main things that he opened up with was the fact that unity is being stressed. And the kind of the motto of the team this year is 100% alignment with no entitlement. I couldn't help but think that that was a really pointed message considering all of the off-season chaos that's been going on with one A.J. Brown and you know, obviously his departure to New England. That was just a tumultuous situation all season long. And so the fact that you're able to get away from that, you know, mind you, remember, A.J. was complaining when the Eagles were undefeated, and he was still complaining about his numbers and not being satisfied and things like that. And so when you have something like that and you're coming off of the heels of that, the 100% alignment, everybody's aligned, everybody's on the same mission, everyone wants to have a we type mentality without the entitlement, I think is the nicest way to say that we have turned that page and we're moving on, and this is a new identity, and the things of the past are not going to be issues here moving forward this year. So I thought that was really well done and really well handled by Jalen Hurts, and it was echoed by some other veterans as well. But of course, QB1 is kind of your go-to point person on that. I thought that was really interesting of him to say.
I like that he's reasserting his leadership, but using it, as you said, to say essentially there's no I in team. And this is the type of game we're going to play this time around. So I'm looking forward to how the season goes. Yeah. And for me, this will be the first time that I'm watching a winning team. So well, I haven't gotten so lucky in my other markets.
Yeah, and like I said, this is where all of the hard work starts, right? Because it's a long way till the Super Bowl in February, but this is the building blocks. And, you know, Nick Sirianni says we make it very clear in our job description that these guys have to come ready to work. They have to be in great shape. And, you know, Sirianni, people like to put him on the hot seat here in Philadelphia. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm going to be quite honest. I don't share in that opinion. But Nick has led this team to the postseason every single year of his tenure, and he's also led them to 2 Super Bowls. So very, very successful head coach here, very successful organization within recent years. And he made it a point to say, you know, this is where it starts, right here out on those practice fields, and just getting those reps in and building that time. He said we make training camp purposely difficult and purposely challenging so that these guys, you know, when you go through tough things, you lean on each other, you bond with each other, and all of that work that you do on these fields now within the next month and a half will absolutely pay off later on down the line. So a lot of different things to watch here, tons of new pieces, obviously a new offensive coordinator and a new look offensive line as well here for this team. And some of these younger guys really kind of stepping up into new roles. Jalen Carter, of course, becoming the highest paid defensive tackle in NFL history recently. He was actually joking on the podium. Jalen Hurts came up and he's like, look, I know he's setting some records with this deal, but I had to add on to it. I gave him a little $5 bill out of my backpack and told him, here, let me just add a little bit onto it. And Jalen Carter came up and he's like, yeah, I was walking all around with my $5 bill from Jalen Hurts. I wish he would have signed it so it would have been worth a little bit more money. Probably worth $500 if he would have signed it. So really easy camaraderie here today, very supportive system. But we're just going to continue to see this thing grow and develop. And like I said, those two young men that you're seeing right there, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, are absolutely going to continue to grow in that leadership role and be the anchors of that defense now that they both have been extended for quite some time.
I have to say, too, listening back to the press conferences, like, these players are fun. This is a fun team, and I think that's going to make it all the more enjoyable. Like, I'm used to seeing the players just being so stoic, and they don't really like talking to the media, and this was kind of like that, yeah, we're back, we're ready for the season, and we can also joke around with each other, too. It actually feels like a family, like an actual team.
Yeah, and I find that, and we're not quite there yet, obviously, because this is still training camp. We're not allowed in the locker rooms. We're not there on a weekly basis really interacting with them. But I have covered 4 Super Bowls, and I have covered 2 teams that have won Super Bowls, but four runs altogether. And you can always tell there's a different atmosphere with teams that are successful. They genuinely want to be there. They genuinely want to play with each other. There is no ego. There is none of that, expectation of me in there. And I know that sounds silly, but it is a very tangible thing that you can feel. I felt it in Kansas City when I would cover the Chiefs. I felt it during Super Bowls 57 and 59. And it's a really interesting thing to see develop. And so when they come into training camp, they're loose, they're joking around. I think my favorite thing today to see was that Jalen Carter doing his press conference off to the side of the media tent. We all are sitting there, and there's like auxiliary space on the side of the tent for media to be in. Well, who else is standing there on the side of that tent? Jordan Davis's mother, and Jalen Carter's mother were all standing there just to support him as he has this incredible press conference to celebrate something that is unbelievable for him to become the highest paid DT in NFL history, like I said. So that stuff is what makes an incredible team, and to watch players mentor each other and to be able to take criticism from one another and kind of peer coach, as well as getting feedback from their actual coaches and coordinators, I think is really fun. And hopefully we see a little bit more of that today. It was only an hour long, so you're only going to get so much, right? But the fact that it's day one and they're already coming in looking loose, having this great relationship and having that intangible thing is really a great thing to see, and hopefully that continues down the line.
Okay, Braylon, we're going to get back into Jalen Carter's contract in just a second, but this is my first time seeing you since the news broke, and I have to ask you, because you were like, of course it's going to happen when I'm off. LeBron James is here in Philadelphia. How are you feeling?
No, just it's unbelievable. So I still am in shock about it. You and I spoke about it constantly, and I'm like, I'm getting tired of this, because I truly did feel like he was baiting Philadelphia, right, to get the headlines, and then he was going to go to Cleveland, because that, to me, in my brain, when you talk about a storybook ending of a career, Cleveland just seemed the most likely. It just made the most sense. But mind you, I am a Sixers hater. I love that team, but I also hate them because they constantly are making dumb things. They're making dumb moves. They frustrate me. They've always frustrated me. But Bron must see something in this new regime. And we've discussed this, Judea, so many times about Mike Gansey just automatically come out of the gate swinging with the Jaylen Brown trade, and just the pursuit of LeBron James and some of these other moves that he's made have been really, really impressive. And no matter what, I said, win or lose this LeBron lottery, Mike Gansey is a winner because he is doing things that Daryl Morey, the previous president of basketball operations, couldn't even dream of doing. And the fact that this man brings in LeBron James is just unbelievable. And that to me...
Wait, for that big of a pay cut as well.
Correct. He is playing for a championship here. And I mean, he made it very crystal clear in his tweets and everything else. And so to me, I'm like, oh my God, for LeBron James to co-sign what we've all kind of been feeling of, like, this is something different. This is something new. This era of Sixers basketball is headed potentially in the correct direction for the first time in a very, very long time. And to have LeBron James, one of the greatest basketball players, if not the greatest basketball player of all time, you can debate that on your own. But to have somebody of that caliber co-sign that, yes, the Sixers are indeed headed in the right direction, this is where I would like to spend the twilight of my career, that is something special. And I'm really excited to see what they had going on. But like I said, of course, you know, I knew it was, if it was going to happen, it was going to happen on my measly, 4 days away from here.
But then you got to truly enjoy it.
Like, I wasn't even gone a week, and he's just launching that thing. Yeah. So it is what it is. I'm looking forward to that, and the Eagles players are also really looking forward to that as well. Jalen Hurts was asked about it. He's very, very excited to have an athlete of that caliber in here, and you know, the guys were geeking a little bit about the fact that LeBron James is coming to town. So he has some mutual admirers across the street there at Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah, I thought it was fun that they were able to share their spotlight with him while we were all asking questions about the Eagles. They were like,
oh yeah,
LeBron
I mean, it's also, like I said, it's the first day of training camp, so they want to have some fun. Jordan Davis and I were talking about his hobbies and how he learned how to golf and whatnot over the off season. So you get a bunch of odd questions, but yeah, LeBron was definitely a hot topic even at Eagles training camp.
Well, I'm glad we brought it back full circle, back to the Eagles, because again, Jalen Carter did just sign a 4-year contract for a lot of money. We're talking stupid money for someone so young, but this was really exciting. And his friends, his colleagues, they were happy for him.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, JC is so talented, and I think it speaks really highly of Howie Roseman and this organization that the reason why this was a delay, so many people thought, oh, Jalen Carter, are they going to get the deal done? Are they not? Is he going to hold out? I was never particularly worried about a Jalen Carter holdout, simply because I've seen other athletes do something similar. And I also just inherently trust Howie Roseman that he's going to take care of his guys. And sure enough, when he gets to the podium today, he's like, sorry, the delay was because I wanted to see, there were a couple of other guys in that same position that were getting signed, and he's like, I wanted to see the market. I wanted to make sure that Jalen Carter was paid appropriately and adequately. And I guess to Howie Roseman, that means a record-setting contract. But he certainly earned it. His ceiling is just sky high, and he's entering the prime of his career. And I think it's also really important that Howie Roseman stood on that business today, and he's like, hey, I just want to tell Eagles fans, if you own a jersey of this young core of guys, your role players, so obviously a Carter, a Jordan Davis, a Cooper DeJean, and Quinyon Mitchell, those types of your core guys and the other side of the ball, obviously you have a Hurts and a Smitty and whatnot. He wants to keep this young core of this team intact as long as he can. And he's going to try to do everything in his power to make that happen. And I thought that was a really great statement by Howie Roseman that shared the vision of where this team is headed for the next couple of years, that this is the core, and he's going to continue to build through the draft and re-sign. I think it's worked very well for them, clearly, over the past couple of years to build from within. And he's certainly not shying away from that model, especially, think about Jordan Davis also getting his extension as well. And I'm sure in the coming year-ish, Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell will be right behind them. So, really, really interesting commentary from Howie Roseman today that gives fans a little bit of a hope for the future that this is the team to stay moving forward. Yeah.
This is very exciting to hear right before things like really get into the throes. Now, I'm going to let you go, but I want to let the people know we're going to listen into those moments. Braylon Moore was in the room when it all happened, when the players got to comment how they feel about Jalen Carter getting all of that shmoney. Take a listen.
We've been asking Nick about the passing game. He said, runs through AJ, Devontae, Dallas, and obviously things have changed. Do you sense there could be more diversity in the passing game in terms of what we'll see as the season kickstarts?
Yeah, a bunch of new faces, a bunch of new names. Our offense we're doing is entirely different. So under center, play action, wide zone, consistent with that. And so, yeah, I think for spreading the ball, I think there'll be a lot of that. Each guy getting more touches. So what I like about this, though, is that everything looks very complex to the defense. To the offense is pretty simplified. So obviously we got to pick up on communication and cadence and stuff, but it's very O-line friendly compared to maybe some past years that I've been involved in. So, man, looking forward to it. Looking forward to the offense. So first day, guys getting jitters out and getting the first practice under the belt is big, and we're going on the walkthroughs and just trying to get our reps in.
I'm thankful for them giving me the opportunity to come here. Even before the draft, my first visit, just having a conversation with them, I knew that it was going to be a lot of trust and love. And if I was able to get here, that it was going to go perfect and everything was just going to work out. And, I know we're here for the contract, and the contract is a reflection of the trust that the coaches, the players, the organization has in me. And, I'm very thankful for that.
Over the last few months, I think the team probably wanted this to happen sooner. How are you handling the last few months?
The last few months, I've just been working. I had my agent, Drew Rosenhaus, really handling everything, and my beautiful mother over there, they did most of the communicating and talking. And, they let me relax and, get my summer work in and come in just ready for the start of the season. And, they got it handled, and I'm very thankful for them. I'm thankful for a lot. Matter of fact, let me slow it down. First, I want to say I'm thankful for God for putting me on this earth and getting me here. And I'm thankful for the coaches, the players, the organization, Mr. Laurie. He's a big impact in what's going on right now. And thankful for you guys, too. You guys put out some good information, some good facts about me and stuff like that. And, we all one family.
What's the Jalen Carter getting his contract?
I'm excited for him. I mean, one, congratulations. My wife had put a $5 bill in my backpack. A little inside joke between her and I, but I took that $5 bill and I went and gave it to Jalen Carter and I smacked it on his chest and I said, "Let me put 5 on top of that." So we just had a little fun, but he's a great competitor, great player. He's disrupting practice out there today. I mean, just excited for him to be able to focus on what's to come and move forward. Yeah.
Receiving into some pretty big contracts. What's your reaction to Jalen Carter's latest?
Yeah, man, I was happy. I told him his rookie year that, this is where he was headed. He had the potential to obviously be a great dominating player in this league. So, I think the way Jordan Davis carried himself last year, I think that gave him some motivation to pick up the ante, and so, yeah, for him, man, I think, he's only scratching the surface of what he's going to become. He just has the ability with that size. Few guys can move like that at that size and weight. So I think this will just be a huge incentive to just keep progressing and become the dominating force that we all know he is, and just stay consistent with it.
Zach, what's your reaction to Jalen Carter 1 year?
Let's go. Happy for him. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Him making sure he stays in Philly. He's a pleasure to play behind. Really looking forward to his growth, which is crazy to say. He just signed an all-time contract, and there's still room to grow. So super excited for him.
It's really exciting to see when your friends aren't hating on you. They love the wins that you get because it kind of means that they win too. And just genuinely, they're excited for you to continue, as he said there, grow. You guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to let you listen in to what head coach with general manager had to say about everything. Again, this is the first day of training camp for the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see how it went on when we come back. All right, hey you guys, welcome back into Philadelphia Live. Before we proceed with our sports news, I want to get you guys updated on a story that we're following, we're keeping our eyes on. Our Shawnette Wilson is live on the ground trying to get you guys more information. Our Skyfox flew over the scene a little earlier, and in some video, you can actually see a car, a black car that seems to be the primary source of this investigation. Police say that a man was shot and killed out in Winslow Township, New Jersey. So this investigation is going on as we speak. The victim has been identified as 33-year-old Domenicio Furtz, again, of Winslow Township. He was taken to Cooper University Hospital where he was pronounced dead at around 3 p.m. today. They're still looking for the potential suspect in this case, also looking for a potential motive. Now, Shawnette Wilson, again, is live on the grounds trying to get us more information. So far, the police haven't given us what we would call a press conference, so speaking to us and speaking to our cameras. But they did give us a press release, which is a written statement of everything they know to have happened at this point in time. So far as we know, we've gotten the identity of the victim. You can see one of the vehicles involved in this case that they're looking into. We've got markers, yellow markers on the ground, which may show evidence that could include bullets or casings. But that is the latest that we have there. If you know anything about it, they want you to contact their detectives from the Winslow Township Police Department as soon as possible. You can also give them an anonymous tip if you've got something for them. Now, let's get you back caught up on some of our biggest news of the day. We've been talking about the Eagles, but real quick, I want to show you this news that we've gotten in from the So if you look on Instagram, they put out this big statement saying LeBron James has shattered the record for jersey sales. So remember when he announced that he was joining the Philadelphia 76ers, they dropped his jersey. The world went crazy, and apparently after 48 hours, he sold the most jerseys ever of a player joining a new team, which means he broke Shohei Ohtani's record. That is just mind-blowing. Complex Sports is also reporting in. You can see there what his jersey looks like, what the announcement looked like. They say since Friday, LeBron merchandise has accounted for 8 of the top 10 selling products on Fanatics, period. That, want to get you right back onto Philadelphia Eagles. Today is the first day of training camp. That means we've got so much more to cover. But head coach Nick Sirianni sat down with our general manager, and I want to let you listen in on what they both had to say. Let me tell you right now, it was games as soon as they put those sunglasses on. You'll see what I mean in a second.
Howie, the decision to give Jalen Carter the contract.
No. Welcome
No.
back.
No.
Hey guys, how's it going? How's everyone's summer? We've got football back in Philadelphia. It's a beautiful thing. Right through it. Are we all wearing sunglasses? It's like pictures. Do you want us all to wear sunglasses?
I might actually put them on.
No, there's a glare. Good. All good.
The decision to give Jalen Carter the contract you did. What have you seen from him behind the scenes over the past few years that make you confident you want him to be a big part of the team moving forward?
When I think about the timeline with Jalen Carter, we went into the offseason looking to extend him, looking to extend, obviously, JD, and kind of keep the strength of our team. That position group, not only with those two guys, I mean, Morrow, unbelievable player, unbelievable person for our team. BY took a lot of steps, and we got a young group behind that we're really excited about. And we felt like that was one of the strengths of our team, and we wanted that to be one of the strengths of our team going forward. The defense tackle position in the league, in college football, it's a deficient position. There's hard to find guys like that. And so we feel like it was a priority. Where the market was when March opened was kind of in transition. You had guys like Dex ready to sign, obviously Simmons. And so some of the reasons that it got to this point were just because we were trying to figure out the market. And from his perspective, he was trying to figure out the market. There hadn't been a big jump in the market. And so we like to do contracts in March and April, obviously, get that situated before we go into the draft, before we go into our summer. This was a unique situation. By the same token, getting this done before camp was important for all of us. Good things happen when you get things off your plate and you're able to focus on football.
Howie, there was a SI report.
I didn't really answer your question yet, did I?
No.
Okay, you're fine.
Howie, there was an SI report that there was some internal hesitation about giving Jalen Carter an extension. Can you speak to that?
I can't speak to the report. I didn't see the SI report. What's that?
You had hesitation about giving him the extension because of off-field concerns.
I would say this. I don't know what off-field concerns. Since Jalen's been here, he's put his head down. He's worked hard. He's made huge impact plays for this organization, for this team. Last year, he wasn't 100%. He tried to fight through that and play through that. We understand that. Like anyone, when you're 25 years old, you're still growing as a person and as a player. I saw Zach Vaughn yesterday, and he made a great comment. He said to me, he's like, when I signed my contract, someone told me, you don't pay me for what I did, you're paying for me what I'm going to do. And that's why we do these deals. We don't do anything based on retroactive performance. We're doing things based on future performance. And again, we were trying to sign Jalen in March, understood it was unique because of where the market was and where he thought and Drew thought it was going. But it was always positive, and we were always trying to get him extended.
Nick, change is inevitable in the NFL. You're going into your 6th year. There's been a lot of changes on the staff, but Aaron and Jamal, they're two of the soldiers that have been with you for your entire tenure. How much have you leaned on them during your tenure here, especially amongst the change, which is like inevitable, like I said?
Yeah, excited to have those guys back on staff, and we've had some great staffs here, and you have great relationships with all those guys. You always try to build those relationships, and obviously those two guys. Jamal's done a great job of doing a lot of the assistant head coach duties, and he's a really good person. I've always leaned on him. Now he has that title of assistant head coach, and man, he just does a great job with everything that he does. Same with Aaron, and naturally, you know, we're doing a drill today, and this wasn't a drill that we did in OTAs. So it's like, hey, we're doing this drill today. Aaron, Jamal, Parks, why don't you guys kind of coach up what we're looking for on this drill? And so, yeah, there's little things like that happen every once in a while, you know, and that you really value somebody that's been here in the past to be able to explain some of those things of how we go about it. But those two guys have been really valuable. Their players have played well. They're really good coaches. They're really good people. I've really appreciated having them on staff. You know, Wash, Tyler Scudder, those guys have been here throughout the time as well. And it goes to show you just what type of coaches they are, right? And, you know, that you want to continue to have them here, and you want to continue to, you know, build that relationship and build that what they've done with their players.
Nick, as you enter training camp, what's the plan at backup quarterback? Are those guys going to rotate, and is that an open competition?
You know, first of all, I really love the room. To have 4 guys that you're so excited about to be able to go to work with every single day, that just speaks to the way Howie and his staff have built the roster. So excited about that room. Everything is a competition. You know, we'll continue to rotate with those guys with what we're doing. But that's not, you know, Andy's played a lot of football. And Andy's played a lot of good football. So that has no that doesn't say anything about what we feel about Tanner. Like, Tanner has been here for 4 years and has played some really good moments, played some really good games, has so consistent at practice with what he does and the type of player he is. So we're really excited about that. But we also know that competition brings out the best in everybody. And so to be able to have a guy like Andy and Tanner working together and working to push each other to get better, that's only going to make our team better. But again, can't say how much I appreciate having Tanner and all the things that he's done and the type of player that we continue to think that he can be. So we're excited about that room.
PG went on record somewhere this offseason. Said he would hope to know, like, his future in the early days of training camp. He doesn't want to come back in the middle of the season or whatever. Where do things stand with him?
Communication between BG and the Eagles, myself, you know, first draft pick I ever made as a GM, has always been consistent. You know, so those conversations, obviously, between us and every player, we're going to keep between us and the player. I want to be consistent with whoever that is, that we do that. But obviously, you're talking about one of the greatest Eagles players, unbelievable person. Last year, his ability to come back in and help us was huge for our football team. But again, you know, those conversations we'll keep private.
Yeah, just rewinding on Jalen Carter for you.
On Jonathan Bernard and what that means for.
With Jalen Carter, from your perspective.
You want me to answer you and he can answer him at the same time?
Go ahead.
Jalen Carter, from your perspective, how much does it help you to have somebody like that satisfied for the start of camp versus maybe?
You know, first of all, just really happy for him and his family. He's worked his butt off to get rewarded the way he is, and like how he said, it's you know, we're paying you for what you're going to do in the future, and we have that confidence in him. I've really enjoyed getting to know Jalen more and more each year, and the time that I've spent with him, and he's put his head down, he's worked, he's made impactful plays, and we look for that to continue. And he's a heck of a football player that demands a lot of attention by the opposing offense. So to be able to have him locked up, and we know what that creates for the opposing offense. I know as a former offensive coordinator, the problems a player at that position with that talent creates, and the things that you have to do for him game plan wise. Yeah, and anytime you're just excited that portion's out of the way, and you're able to go and focus completely on football. Which he has, you know, which I give him a lot of credit. He's focused so much on football. He came back in phenomenal shape with his weight, with his conditioning test. So even with that contract still looming, he worked his ass off. And I'm proud of him for that, you know, and that shows you the type of guy he is, and he'll continue to be, and excited for him to play ball.
I get you.
Further insight can you give on Bernard and what that means for the position group this summer?
Yeah, he was lifting, and he has a pec strain. I think that one of the things that we know about Grenard is he's going to be ready to play. And I think training camp's so important, practice is so important. But when you have a guy like that who prepares the way he does, who has the experience in the NFL the way he does, you know he's going to be ready to play when we start the season. And we just, we want to be smart with all our guys and get them ready, but at the same time, acknowledge kind of the process that they have to take to make sure that they are 100% when they come back. And again, this is not a long-term injury. This is nothing we're concerned about. But when we can, we're going to make sure that, we take care of our guys and put them in the best position to have a great year.
Hey, Nick, Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson, are they full go going into this? And how important is it to have them both healthy?
Yeah, obviously you saw the PUP list, and then everybody else will be going. And again, two guys that have come back, and I can't say enough of what happened at our conditioning test yesterday. It was just, man, you just saw the complete focus of everybody, and you can't cheat the conditioning test. You can't cram for it in 1 week. And the whole team was just so locked in, focused. It seemed easy for them. And I know that test is hard. We've done that test plenty in these last 5 years. And they came back in great shape, those two guys included. Crushed it, and excited to get out there and work.
Teams take on the personality of their leader. Have you seen Coach Sirianni, what great shape he's in? You got Dom in great shape, Bob Lang in great shape right here. We got everyone's in great shape.
Go back to Jalen Carter.
All right, you guys, so there's just a little bit of what we got to hear from Coach Sirianni, GM Roseman, while they were having a media day for the first day of the Philadelphia Eagles training camp. We'll try to check in throughout the next couple of days with our sports team, seeing what's going on with the Eagles and how they're getting ready for this season ahead. Someone on TikTok who just came in said, what's the Blues Brothers bit about because of the sunglasses that they're wearing there? And my answer is, I don't know. I don't know, but that's what was going on. All right, after this break, I've got a question for the newsroom and a question for you guys too. If you could go back to being a child, what would be the thing that you want to do first? What do you miss the most about those easy days of childhood? We'll check in with my team. We'll figure out why I'm asking the question in just a second. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. I am live in the newsroom right now doing something pretty exciting. So I'm going to ask my colleagues a question in just a second, but I want to address why I'm asking in the first place. Today, you know, news can be really, really heavy. We covered some really, really tough things at the top of the show, but it's always worth it to add a little whimsy to your day. So before I came into the office, I was just walking out and about, and I happened to see the fire department local to our area, and I was like, I wonder if they would let me tour the fire engines. Because, like, as a kid, I always wanted to sit in one of those fire trucks, but I never did it. Parent never took me. So, like, yes, I'm an adult, but why would I not try to do something that I missed in my childhood? So I asked the question. They let me do it. Take a look. I've got a picture. And one of the things that I noticed, like, honestly, I felt so good about it. But I think it's because I was making like little Judea, like little childhood Judea felt really good. And then afterwards, they gave me this cute little t-shirt. Take a look. So shout out to Engine 8 here in Philadelphia with the Philadelphia Fire Department. I appreciate you for, you know, letting a little girl live out her dreams. And so that brings me to our question of the day. Like, if you could go back to being a child, what's something that you would look forward to doing right away? What's something you miss about being a kid? So I'm going to ask my colleagues. We're going to start actually on this side with Cam from our digital team. We always ask her first. Cam, adding a little whimsy to your day, what do you miss about your childhood?
What do I miss?
Yeah, about being a kid.
The lack of responsibility.
Amen. That's actually our top answer right now in our poll. Yeah, people are saying they miss not having to pay bills.
Exactly.
I get it. Let's check in with our producers. Hey, gentlemen, while you're on your way back to your seat, just quick question. What do you miss about being a kid?
There's not too much I miss about that. Probably just the I don't know. There's not much. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
It's all good. That's fair. A lot of people said they miss not paying bills.
That's definitely good.
Amen. I sure miss that one too. Chris, our executive producer, any thing you miss about being a kid, or if you could go back today, what's the first thing you would do?
Eliminate the childhood trauma that was coming. Now, right? No, yeah. So wait.
That's fair.
Phrase the question again. I'll come up with something less doom and gloom.
Okay, well, we'll come back to you. But hey, that's real. Someone else was saying it at home. Chaz, can I ask you too? Is it the same answer?
Pretty much. Like, I would take my freedom back, my happiness, my need to.
We're doing really well over here, by the way.
We're doing great. My need to not have to work out, not have to eat well, not have to have any responsibility.
You kids still need to eat well. Eat your broccoli if your parents told you to do that. But you know, it looks like you actually still add a little whimsy to your day. I love the baguette.
Yeah, I do. You know, what else can you do? You just take back any control you can in life.
This is how we do it, one baguette at a time. Sir, can I ask you too? Wait, nope, he looks busy. We're gonna go to Sarah. Sarah, real quick, anything you miss about your childhood, or if you could go back today, first thing you would do?
The first thing I would do is, well, I was going to say like sleep all day, but like I can do that now.
See, but nobody would be upset with you as a kid if you did that.
I think like pull an all-nighter with a group of friends, like have like a big sleepover.
Oh, that's super cute. We got a lot of awes in the newsroom. Shiva, can I come and ask you? Okay, so I know you're usually getting ready for the news right about now, but anything you miss from your childhood, or if you could go back, first thing you would do?
I'm with Sarah. I miss the sleepovers too, and I miss being disconnected, not having any phones.
You know, I think the kids nowadays are kind of missing that. We got a lot of iPad kids. But yeah, when you used to just go outside and rip and run until your parents called you back home, that was nice.
No, until the streetlights came on.
Oh. Wait a minute, you taking me back.
Did you grow up during that time?
Well, no, but also we didn't have streetlights where I grew up.
So how did you know to come home?
I think I was just around the house a little bit. Yeah. You know, I could hear my mom calling when it was dinner time. Yeah. We also, very strict household that I grew up in. We'll talk about this a little later.
In the church,
Yes,
right?
yes,
That's right. I do remember that.
Yeah, we had a talk in the makeup room. You guys, back to Chris talking about the trauma. Okay, real quick, I want to pull up our poll so our audience can also answer. Let's see if we can take a look at some of our choices just in case. Oh, wait. Take the poll down. Chris, new answer.
You know what I miss about childhood is the joy of discovering things for the first time when they were new. Like, yeah, like the first time you ever experienced this, the first time you ever experienced that. I miss that.
Does it make you feel a little more for the kids who ask, why? Because they are learning things for the first time.
It gives me appreciation for them because they're learning stuff for the first time too.
I love that answer, though. And I feel like still as an adult, still to this day, I'm learning new things. I'm figuring things out, not afraid to ask questions, which you guys shouldn't be afraid to ask those questions either. But now, let's pull up the poll real quick just so I can check how you guys have been voting. And keep in mind, if you want to weigh in, all you got to do is go to fox29.com/go vote and, answer the question, which is, what do you miss most about childhood? So we've got falling asleep anywhere, 7%. Yeah, I used to miss when my mom or dad would pick me up and bring me to bed. We've got 62% of you guys say not worrying about bills, 12% saying playing outside, and of course we've got the slumber party sleepovers. That's about 3%. So some of my colleagues here agree with you there. And at 16%, so the second highest number, we've got Saturday morning cartoons. Which cartoon was your favorite? I was a Tom and Jerry kind of girl. I also liked Cartoon Network. But let me know in the comment section. We'll get back to the news, but I also wanted to, lighten things up a little bit. Share a little whimsy in our adulthood. It is never too late to be what you could have been. For me, that is a comedian. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back, you guys. All right, welcome back into Philadelphia Live. Let's get right back into the top news of the day. So for the past couple of days, we have been chasing this story, trying to get you some answers. What happened out in Delco, this Delaware County here in Pennsylvania? So a man has been charged and accused of using racial slurs and also threatening the sheriff in voicemails. You're taking a look at him there on your screen. He's 40-year-old Sean Keenan. He's accused of leaving threatening voicemails that targeted Delaware County Sheriff Sadiq Kamara. Now, it just so happens that the sheriff is also the first African American to hold his office, and the community is not taking this lightly. They held a press conference earlier today just sharing how disappointed they are, but how they'll seek justice for sure in this case. Let's take a listen.
Recently, our community reached a historic milestone. We elected Sadiq Kamara as Sheriff of Delaware County. And in doing so, he made history becoming the youngest sheriff in the country and the first Liberian American to hold office in the county. We celebrated this progress. We celebrated this representation. And we celebrated this young man willing to step into the arena to serve his community. But progress always faced resistance. And in just days ago, he received a vile, threatening, racist, and Islamophobic voicemail by then a faceless coward operating in the shadows who tried to use hate, xenophobia, and intimidation to tear down a duly elected official. Which brought me to a fundamental question. A question that defines the character of a community. And that question is, what do you do when your friends are being attacked? Do you sit complacent? Do you look the other way hoping the storm passes? Do you whisper in private but remain silent in public? Or do you stand up? Do you speak up? Do you call for accountability? Let me be clear. The Delaware County Black Caucus do not sit complacent. We do not cower in the face of bigotry. When our brothers and sisters are under attack, we stand up. The threats aimed at Sheriff Kamara were not just an attack on one man. They were attacked on every single one of us that believe in this country and believe in Delaware County. It shouldn't matter where you come from, how you pray, or what you look like. These xenophobic and racist remarks are a desperate attempt to drag us back to a dark past. But guess what? We are not going back. To the cowardly man who recently got caught, your intimidation tactics has failed. You thought your words was going to isolate Sadiq. You thought you could instill fear. And instead, you united us. And as you see here, represented by the coalitions of folks from Delaware County, Montgomery County, Bucks County, Philadelphia. The district attorney has responded swiftly, bringing this coward to justice. And we, the Black Caucus, thank you for that prompt response. But to the community, our community, I say this, our work does not end. We have a moral duty to wrap our arms around Sheriff Kamara. We must show him and the rest of the world that hate has no home here in Delaware County. So when your friends are under attack, you don't abandon them. You become their shield. You amplify their voice. Sheriff Kamara has made it clear that he will not be deterred from doing the job which he was elected to do. He is standing strong, and as long as I have breath in my lungs, and as long as this Black Caucus exists, he will never stand alone. We will not sit complacent. We will stand up. We will protect our own, and we will continue to fight for a Delaware County where progress cannot be stopped by prejudice. Thank you. Now we're going to have state legislative remarks by Senator Carney, State Representative Carol Kazim, and State Representative Greg Scott, as well as Lisa Borowski.
Thank you, Malcolm. Good morning. I want to first thank the Delaware Black Caucus for bringing us here today. You know, we're here for one reason, and that's to stand with Sheriff Sadiq Kamara and every man and woman of the Delaware County Sheriff's Office after the racist, threatening, and hate-filled voicemails from last week. Now, what happened was unacceptable. Plainly, unmistakably unacceptable. It was criminal in nature, meant to intimidate, meant to divide, meant to sow fear. And I know that we will not be shaken by it. Here in Delaware County and across the country, great progress has been made in fairness, equity, and representation over the past several generations. But no one here is naive enough to believe that the views expressed in those voicemails have vanished. They have diminished, yes, but they have not disappeared. And when they go unchallenged, they can spread and metastasize like a cancer. And that is why gathering here publicly matters. It would have been easy for something like this to be brushed aside or dismissed as just another angry voice. But hate is expressed, when it's expressed this plainly, ignoring it is not an option. Naming it, rejecting it, and standing together is how communities stay strong. But let me be clear, Delaware County will stand firm against any slide backwards. The Delaware County Black Caucus, County Council, Southwest Legislative Caucus are all united in this commitment. Yes, we are living in a moment when many federal policymakers and national voices from the highest offices in the land are pushing racist rhetoric and divisive, dangerous policies that embolden bias and target people indiscriminately with an obvious and painful focus on people of color. Yes, racist dog whistles blowing in Washington can be heard here in Delaware County. And we've seen how this rhetoric gives cover to people who think they can openly express ugly, hateful views in our community. But we all say, not here, not in Delco.
Not in Delco. That's right. That's right.
Now, Sheriff Camara has met this ugliness with steadiness and resolve, and he has the full support of this community. We'd also like to thank District Attorney Tanner Rouse and the county's DA office for their diligent work in identifying the suspect and bringing charges. A clear message that threats and racist intimidation will be met with swift action in Delaware County. We will call out hate every time it appears, and we will meet it with unity and clarity every single time. We stand with our sheriff. We stand with his deputies. We stand with all members of the community when we say with one voice that this kind of hatred has no place in Delaware County. Not now, not ever. Thank you.
There you have it. The message is clear. Now, I want to correct something I said earlier. I had mentioned that Sheriff Camara was the first Black African-American sheriff for Delaware County, and I need to correct that. He's the first Liberian sheriff of Delaware County. He's also the youngest ever in county history. The first Black sheriff was Jerry L. Sanders Jr., who was voted in 2018. All right, so you guys, with that, I had mentioned 40-year-old Sean Keenan was charged. Those charges are felony counts of terroristic threats and ethnic intimidation upon some other crimes. We have an article about this on the fox29.com website, or you can go to the free Fox Local app if you'd like to learn a little bit more and see how the community is continuing to respond. Another big story that I want to bring you on out to, Cheltenham High School. Their football coaches, some of the players have been charged with hazing. They say this happened in a locker room and it included some assaults. So 4 football coaches, 6 players are now facing charges after 2 locker room assaults that took place between August and September of 2025. The coaches are accused of not reporting the assaults, and the players are accused of allegedly beating a 15-year-old teammate. Again, officials say that this was some sort of hazing and that the coaches were supposed to report this, that they're mandatory reporters. So I want to let you listen in. Before we get into the press conference that happened earlier today, Superintendent has put out a statement, and I've gotten excerpts of it. So let's start with part 1. Taking a look there on your screen, they say, Cheltenham School District's thoughts remain with the victim and their family. No student should ever experience violence or fear in school-related setting. While no legal outcome can erase the harm that was experienced, we appreciate that after nearly a year, charges have been announced and those responsible are being held accountable through the criminal justice system. Part 2 says, and the full facts were being investigated. The district made decisions to suspend the 2025-2026 football program and later cancel the upcoming 2026-2027 football season. The district also separated from every member of its football coaching staff. These decisions were not made lightly. Rather, they reflected the district's commitment to protecting the safety and well-being of students while investigations unfolded. Part 3. The district supports the recommendation to expand the Child Protective Services law to include hazing as a mandatory reportable offense for school officials. However, the district encourages state officials to consider whether this change goes far enough, since, and I quote, hazing requires a finding that the conduct was committed for the purpose of initiating, admitting, or affiliating a minor or student into or with an organization, or for the purpose of continuing and enhancing a minor or student's membership or status in an organization, which is not always immediately recognizable in reports of student-on-student assaults. We look forward to working with our local elected officials, State Senator Art Haywood and State Representative Napoleon Nelson, to push for these reforms, as they have always been advocates for our students and their safety and well-being. This is a much larger statement coming from the superintendent of the Cheltenham School District. I want to let you listen into a press conference that was held earlier. The district attorney is talking. We're also hearing from some other officials that just go over some of the details of this case. Take a listen.
Rich Schaefer, Cheltenham Township Police Department, our First Assistant District Attorney Ed McCann, our Deputy Chief County Detective Tom Nolan, and Assistant District Attorneys Samantha Kaufman and Yasmin Finnegan, who jointly headed up the grand jury investigation that we're going to talk about here today. I kind of want to start and finish with talking about the grand jury. I don't know how well known this is, but folks come in for jury duty and then get signed up for sometimes 18 months or longer to sit as grand jurors in cases that are causing problems in our communities, where we have uncooperative witnesses. And the last act of this grand jury was to produce this report that is being provided for you. And I just publicly want to say, thank you to these grand jurors for their incredible commitment. This is not their first report. This is their second report. They did one on the smoke shop epidemic and what we were seeing with this. And then we're finished and came back in to finish their work in this case and in this report. And I think it shows just incredible commitment by a group of people that came in for jury duty one day and then became a part of, I hope, what's going to be solutions to some of the problems. So we're here to discuss an investigation into assaults that took place in Cheltenham High School football locker room. There's been a lot of misinformation, I think, out there in the community about what happened to a 15-year-old football player, and there has been reluctance by most parties, adults and juveniles, to tell what they knew, what they saw, what they heard that day in the locker room and afterwards in the next several weeks. And I'll also say this was on 2 occasions. So the law enforcement folks, many of who are present today, were stymied in terms of our investigation through traditional means of going out and talking to people and investigating things. And we moved this into the grand jury because of that in December 2025 in order to compel testimony under oath to get the facts of the case. We use search warrants, we use investigative means to obtain cell phone records, cell phone videos, and other evidence. So initially, it was believed that there was one incident on September 3rd, 2025 against a sophomore football player. But the investigation moved along, and witness testimony in January revealed the fact that there was a video of an assault in the locker room, not from September 3rd, but from August 15th of 2025. In fact, 2 cell phone videos were able to be recovered by our detectives working the case, and detectives from the Montgomery County Detective Bureau and Cheltenham Township Police Department. And both videos are from the assault on August 15th and record what occurred and capture the main actors that were participants in this. We do not have a video recording of the September 3rd assault. So after hearing months of testimony from more than 25 witnesses and reviewing interview records of the victims and others, the grand jury investigation found that the victim had been assaulted twice in the locker room. The first time, the victim had told no one. Following the second incident on September 3rd, the victim broke down after the assault while being given a ride home by volunteer coach Ralph Burnley, telling Coach Burnley that he had been jumped in the locker room and that started a chain of reactions and actions that were not only problematic, but were the basis of the criminal charges that have been filed against 4 former Cheltenham High School football coaches, head coach Terrence Tolbert, associate head coach Darren D.J. McFadden, assistant coach Benjamin Johnson, and Burnley. So I'll share first with you all what happened in the locker room on those 2 occasions where the victim was assaulted. On both occasions, multiple football players were in the locker room following preseason practice. They were getting changed out of their gear. There were no coaches or adults in the locker room at either time, and that was the information received by the grand jury, and it indicated there was ongoing issues between the juvenile victim and other members of the football team prior to these incidents. The first incident on August 15, 2025 was recorded by 2 juvenile football players, alleged delinquent juvenile 3 and alleged delinquent juvenile 4, who shared the video with multiple players and other students, but later deleted these videos. One of the videos of the assault and the other from immediately after the assault. What it showed is several football players, including alleged delinquent juvenile 2, in the locker room, restraining the juvenile victim while their teammate, alleged juvenile delinquent 1, used a broomstick to poke at the victim's legs and buttocks. The football players can be heard laughing and yelling, and at least one player is chanting, "Broomstick him." A second locker room incident occurred on September 3rd, 2025. This incident was reportedly prompted by the team having to run extra conditioning drills assigned by the coaches after it was discovered that the victim took some equipment from another player's locker. Testimony before the grand jury from multiple witnesses described that incident as involving multiple players, including, and I'll name this individual, Isaiah Simpson and other unidentified players, kicking or stomping on the juvenile victim. The incident also involved the use of a broomstick to poke at the victim's buttocks, again by alleged delinquent juvenile 1. Again, there was no video of that was located. So when interviewed, the juvenile victim described the incident as being punched, kicked, and stomped in the head and the groin with cleats, forcing him to curl up to protect himself and his head. The victim also said the players assaulting him were trying to poke him in the butt with the broomstick. He told interviewers at that time of the assault that he was wearing shorts and football equipment. He said the broomstick did not go in but made contact with his butt cheek area over his shorts. The victim said the assault stopped since the buses were coming and all the players had to catch their bus home. Following the assault.
All right, you guys, those are just some of the details that we're getting out of this case. If you'd like to hear more, we've got a full article and a full report from our Shayna Ferrer, who's been keeping up with this. You guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more news coming your way, including the ongoing search for a woman who's been missing for years now. We'll be touching base with Dawn Timoney to see how she's getting along with her story for tonight. We'll be right back. Welcome back into Philadelphia Live. The news continues at 10 o'clock, and we've got some big stories coming your way. Dawn Timoney, one of our reporters, is heading back to the station as we speak, putting together her live report for tonight, and she joins us here live. Dawn, what has your topic been, and what are you finding?
Well, it's a sad anniversary for a New Jersey family. It's been 3 years today since Norma Yates went missing. She lived and stayed at a mobile home in Atco, New Jersey. She was seen at 5 o'clock at night on this date 3 years ago, and she seemingly vanished without a trace, which is so weird. She left behind her purse, she left behind her cell phone, and police are just pleading with the public. They believe somebody knows something, and they need that person or persons to come forward. I spoke with her daughter, who has just been committed for the last 3 years to trying to find her mom. Sadly, she doesn't believe she's alive. She thinks foul play is involved, but they're also really now advocating for other missing people because they just know how heart-wrenching it is, and hoping to help others get support. But so tonight on Fox 29 News at 10, we talked to Norma Yates' daughter. It's her oldest of three, just about life and dealing with this and trying to find answers. And we also talked to the detective at the Camden County Prosecutor's Office about what they need, what they believe, and just how they're not giving up. The investigation is still active, but again, today marks 3 years.
Yeah, they want answers, 3 years, but they say they'll go on as long as it takes to get the answers that they're looking for and what they need for the community as well. We'll see you at 10 o'clock, Dawn. Thank you so much for making some time for us here on Philadelphia Live. Now, so from some of your biggest headlines still ahead in the 10 o'clock hour, I also want to get you a live look at your weather forecast just in case you missed it at the top of the show. Scott Williams is joining us now just to get us caught up to date. What's going on out there, Scott?
Yeah, fairly quiet conditions for most of us, Judea, but we are still looking at a few showers far north and west right now, in particular the Poconos, portions of the Lehigh Valley. These are having a hard time making it farther to the south and east. We've lost the daytime heating, and also a lot of that rain is just kind of fizzling out north and west. Now, we still have that big area of low pressure. That's the storm system that brought us the heavy rainfall last night, the severe weather as well is still just kind of churning in places like New York State, in Vermont, in New Hampshire. That's where most of the rain has fallen for today as the axis of that moisture continues pivoting slowly but surely off to the north and east. So over the day, course of the day tomorrow will keep more in the way of partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies, kind of still being influenced by that weather pattern. Really not until Friday that we see mostly sunny skies across the area. So as we look at ultimate Doppler, you can see mainly dry conditions for us. We had a isolated shower that moved through Bensalem, Bristol into Burlington County about an hour or so ago, and right now north and west you can kind of see some of those scattered showers as you get up the northeast extension toward the Lehigh Tunnel, Lehigh County, Northampton County, looking at some of those showers in addition to sections of Bucks County, seeing some of that trying to move into upper Bucks County. Also Berks County looking at some of those steadier showers, but once again they're kind of putting the brakes on that area before they make it any farther to the south and east. Now in terms of the shower that moved through Bensalem, Bristol, Burlington, that's already fizzled out. So we're looking at fairly quiet conditions over the next several hours. That area of low pressure continues to slowly pull away during the day tomorrow. So we could get a few more wraparound clouds, maybe a spotty shower tomorrow during the afternoon and evening, more of an instability driven shower. So we get a little daytime heating. We have some of that moisture still around that could spark off an isolated shower in the forecast. So as we look at the hour by hour forecast, still can't rule out spotty shower here or there, mainly north and west of Philadelphia overnight tonight. In terms of the forecast right now, those temperatures upper 70s in Philadelphia. We hit a high today of 86 degrees. Temperatures for tomorrow will be below average, upper 70s to low 80s. So here's a look at the bottom line for tonight. Low temperatures are right where we should be for this time of year in the city at 70 degrees, mid to upper cities for the suburbs. Temperatures For tomorrow morning, 70 degrees at 7 a.m., 79 by 1 o'clock. We go into the low 80s by tomorrow afternoon. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy. Can't rule out an instability pop-up shower. Down the shore next several days, upper 70s to right around 80 degrees. Maybe a spotty shower tomorrow, and then again as we get towards Sunday, second half of the weekend looks unsettled. Here's the bottom line as we kind of chart the path for those showers as we get towards Sunday into Monday. Disturbance will be impacting us, so that's when we get unsettled. Cooler conditions for Sunday into Monday as well. And then we really start to heat up as we get toward the middle and end of next week. You can see those temperatures 90 degrees or better for at least 3 or more days. So that would mean our 6th heat wave of the year, middle end of next week. So it turns kind of steamy for Friday and Saturday as well, as the humidity starts to increase in advance of that next storm system Sunday into Monday. Cooler temperatures with those highs around 84 degrees with that threat for more cloud cover and that rainfall chance in the forecast. So, I mean, it's like we get rid of one thing and then here we go again. We'll get rid of that rain from Sunday and Monday, and then we start to heat up back to another heat wave. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to be an extreme heat wave like some of the others that we've seen, but kind of a low grade heat wave with temperatures right at 90 or a few degrees above 90 degrees for at least 3 or more days. Judea, back over to you.
Scott, thank you for giving us a look at our forecast. Nat on TikTok says, I want it to be hot. It just says tropical weather. So, I mean, I don't know if she's alone. Maybe other people feel the same way. But for me, I could use a little bit of relief. Not that 70s degree weather that we had before.
I can take the heat. I can take the heat. I can't deal with that humidity. When it starts feeling like 110 degrees, yeah, no, count me out.
Our firefighters feel the same way. They were telling me earlier today that when it's this hot outside, if you're trying to fight a fire, it feels like astronomically higher. Thank you so much for giving us a look at our forecast. All right, you guys, let's keep you up to date with some things happening across the country. Here are live events. We're taking a live look out in Seattle. I've been telling you about this for the last couple of days. There was a shooting a couple of days ago out at an event called Bite of Seattle. It was a food festival hundreds of people come out to, but if I can just put it in perspective of where this was taking place, if you've ever heard of the Space Needle or if you've seen any pictures of Seattle, usually they either show you Mount Rainier or they'll show you the Space Needle. This event happened very, very close to it. They're saying that 3 people were killed in this incident, 5 people injured, including a victim as young as 2 years old, a toddler. Now, we're learning new details in this case, and I just have to tell you, they're mind-boggling, very disappointing as well. A 15-year-old has been charged in this shooting, but police say that there were 3 people total involved. They believe one of the suspected shooters was actually killed during the incident. As a matter of fact, when police responded to the scene and they were racing to find these suspected shooters, they say they were chasing one teenager in particular. They had passed another person who was on the ground, who ended up being the suspected shooter that they believe died at the scene. They say the teen that they were chasing, that they were with, looked to that person on the ground and said something of the sort of, "Love you, bro." And so then it makes people think, like, what were they shooting for? Were they shooting at each other? Officials say that this 15-year-old and the other people involved were shooting into that crowd of people. Now, you were taking a live look at a vigil out there in Seattle at the center, which is very close to where all of this took place. Obviously, people are leaving flowers. They're paying their respects to the people who lost their lives, to the victims, and to everyone who's just been left traumatized by attending this event. Now, police say they arrested that teen. They also recovered a black 9mm polymer 80 ghost gun, which is an illegal, unserialized firearm assembled from some other parts. They also say they took an extended magazine that was capable of holding 33 rounds. The magazine actually still had 19 bullets left in it and featured a vanity rear plate reading "1 shot, 1 kill." So people are also leaving cards, their kind remarks. as they're all just trying to make sense of what happened here, the situation. Our Seattle station, Fox 13, is providing these live images that you're taking a look at. The victims have been identified as 43-year-old Carlos Sanchez Villaba, 56-year-old Ashley Whitehead. They were innocent bystanders in this case, and the third person that's died, they say, was one of the suspects. Other people who were injured include, like I said, that 2-year-old child. They suffered from gunshot wounds and are still recovering. So again, our sister station is covering this. If you'd like to learn more, it's Fox 13 Seattle. Just look them up on Google and you can find an article all about what happened here. We're taking a live look out there just to give you an idea of how people, the community, they're still reeling and coming together in unity after this horrifying incident. You guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more news coming your way, including everything you need to know about the New Jersey Anchor program. It may save you some money. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. One of our trending stories on Fox29.com right now as we speak is this article all about the New Jersey Anchor program. A lot of people are wondering how they can save a little bit of money because in this case, New Jersey homeowners and renters, some of them, may be able to receive up to $1,750 in property tax relief. This is all based on their 2025 income and age. So you're taking a look at our article that we have up on our website. Again, it's very popular right now. I suggest that you guys check it out if you want to see if you are eligible for this money. Some residents under 65 years old will be automatically enrolled, just some of them. Seniors and those receiving disability benefits will have to manually submit the new combined PAS-1 application if you want some of this money. The state is supposed to start distributing the payments on September 15th, 2026, and all manual applications must be submitted by the November 2nd deadline. So how do you know if you qualify? So we're looking at eligibility and payment amounts for the 2026 cycle based on your 2025 residency. Where did you live at the time? How much money did you earn? And how old were you? First of all, you had to have lived in New Jersey, have been a resident who either owned or rented a main home since October 1st of 2025. You had to have paid property taxes or rented a property that was subject to you. Also, homeowners, for your 2025 gross income, you must have earned $250,000 or less, which is a lot of us. Renters' gross income couldn't be more than $150,000. Again, most of us. Now, if you fall into those requirements, you may be eligible for some money. Here's how much you should expect. If you're a homeowner with a gross income of $150,000 or less, you can expect $1,500. If you had a gross income between $150,000 and $1 or $250,000, expect $1,000. If you rented your home, you were 65 years old or younger, you can expect about $450. Hey, money is still money. If you were 65 years or older and rented, you can expect about $700. Now, there's so much more information, including how to apply, all of what you need to know, the key dates, the deadlines, all of that. Our digital team put some hard work into this article. Again, you can check it out on our website right now. It is one of our top stories, so it's listed right there on the homepage. But we wanted to show you how you may be able to get a little property tax relief if you happen to live in the state of New Jersey. Now, talking about money, Elon Musk says he's got a plan up his sleeve for his social media platform X. If you guys use it, you may be able to start banking with him. Yeah, that's right. He started a new service called X Money. It'll give you the opportunity to send and receive money from other people who use X in real time. All you got to do is be on the app. According to his company, only users who pay for X's premium service will have the opportunity to try and join, but they also will have to be invited. Now, once you join, they say you'll receive an X-branded Visa debit card. You can use it at any ATM. It kind of reminds me of Cash App or Square Cash. But the company says X Money is using the banking services of Cross River Bank. The new service is offering new customers a 6% yield on deposits if and only if you deposit at least $1,000 into your account. But you can also receive 3% cash back on qualifying purchases. Now, this comes as Elon Musk has talked about turning X into an everything app. He doesn't want you to have to leave the platform to do anything, and this is just his next step in doing that. Now, I know my audience, so I know a lot of you are wondering, what does Elon Musk know about banking? Well, my friends, he created one of the first online banks, which was later bought, and it is what we know today as PayPal. So maybe he knows a lot. Another big story that I want to bring you on out to, Federal Reserve is talking about holding our interest rates steady. And earlier today, the Federal Reserve Chair, Kevin Warsh, actually held a press conference where he talked a little bit about his plan here. One big thing that a lot of people are noticing about him, his style is very different from Jerome Powell. He doesn't want to tell you too much about what the Federal Reserve is doing before it actually gets done. So when we have press conferences like this, it's very important to listen in so you know what's happening. Let's take a listen.
An FOMC committee meeting as chairman has come quickly. It's probably too early to call it a streak, but our discussions again were collegial and constructive. I'm truly lucky to work with colleagues so capable and mission focused, and so determined, like I am, to sharpen the performance of the Federal Reserve. Today, as you know, our committee decided to vote by a 9-3 vote to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 3.5% to 3.75%. The committee is continuing its policy of making ample reserves in the banking system. The economy is showing impressive resilience. Even with recent shocks, the trends are positive and reveal solid growth. Job gains have kept pace with the workforce, and the unemployment rate has changed little. Inflation remains elevated relative to the committee's 2% goal. The committee remains resolute. You've heard this before, but we will deliver price stability. As before, the policy statement conveys just the facts. It's steering clear of forecasting, a choice we consider especially prudent at these uncertain times. Uncertainty, however, does not mean a lack of clarity. For some households, businesses, and market professionals, 5 years of high inflation have left a mistaken impression that's hard to shake, that the Fed's implicit inflation target was somehow above 2%. Let me reiterate, there is no soft inflation target. There is no soft implicit target, not on this committee's watch. There's only a target, and it's 2%. Not one of my FOMC colleagues is under any illusion. We have begun a new chapter, and we understand that the 5+ years of inflation above target cannot be cured in 9 weeks or by a single month of modest price decreases. This Fed will not waver. Our credibility rests on performing our duties and delivering on our responsibilities. Americans are right to expect that because our nation's prosperity depends on it. To the regulars here in the press room, today's assessment might sound familiar, yet there was nothing inertial about our discussions, our policy, or our strategy. 2 economic developments are worth highlighting. The first is a very notable change since our last meeting 42 days ago. Nominal and real yields are materially higher across the Treasury curve. In fact, some of the increases in market interest rates between FOMC meetings are among the most significant in the last 2 decades, ranking around the top decile or so. But if the committee didn't change its policy rate, what happened? In the intermeeting period, market attention centered on real data and real economic developments. Prices reacted in real time to incoming information, and the reduction in forward guidance may have been a factor. Market participants are learning to play the ball, not the referee, and market prices will continue to respond in the direction and magnitude they see fit. This is, in my view, a change for the better, and we're just getting started. After all, the central bank need not always and everywhere be the center of attention. I understand the desire for rolling forecasts and commentary from this committee, but for our part, we need to observe market reaction to developments, direct and unfiltered. I want to stress, of course, that decisions by this committee matter a great deal, and where necessary and appropriate, we will not hesitate to act. A second economic development is one that I noted at the congressional oversight hearings this month, but it's worth repeating. The most striking feature of the economy is the strong growth of business investment. The surge in high-tech CapEx has been remarkable, but that does not necessarily make the Fed's role any easier. In the AI-related category of high-tech equipment and software, the most recent data shows 4-quarter growth rates of nearly 20%. This is helping to sustain the healthy momentum of manufacturing output. More generally, CapEx is preparing the ground for future growth. Nonetheless, the precise timing and magnitude of effects on the supply side remain hard to predict. FOMC meetings produce policy decisions, but just as important is candid discussion of the big things that matter most. That too is a priority in this new chapter at the Fed. In our meeting, vigorous discussion centered on 4 questions, which I will enumerate. First, we talked a lot about the implications of the past 5 years of high inflation on the current policy conjuncture. To echo an old phrase, has the past really passed? Second, my colleagues and I considered the economic shocks of recent years, strained supply chains arising from the pandemic, military conflicts, energy supply disruptions, substantial increases in tariff rates, and yes, the surge in AI-related investment. These differ in their sources. Do they also differ in their effects on output and employment? Third, we took up the related question of price increases arising from shocks. The business CapEx boom, for example, is driving up prices of memory and logic chips and associated AI infrastructure. Do these changes indicate a broader inflationary dynamic, or do we just focus on them because they are under the bright streetlight? Finally, we discuss monetary policy tools and strategies for achieving stable prices. if, as the Fed has long held, interest rate policy should be its primary monetary policy instrument. How much accommodation are we getting from the balance sheet? In all of this, our work is advancing at the Fed. We're asking the right questions. And in this consequential time, we know how very much depends on getting the right answers. Of course, you've all arrived with questions of your own, so let's turn to them now.
Let's start with Steve.
Thank you for taking our questions, Mr. Chairman. You've had a couple months now, or 9 weeks, or whatever number it is, to see the markets behave in the absence of forward guidance. I'm wondering if you could tell me, what message are you getting from the markets as to where policy ought to be right now?
Yeah, so I think officially it's 8 weeks and 4 days, but I'm not counting. The message from markets is the message from markets. What I've really been trying to do, Steve, as I think you appreciate, your colleagues appreciate, is getting an unfiltered message from markets, getting a direct message, letting buyers and sellers meet at prices for treasuries, for the foreign exchange value of the dollar, and then trying to judge for ourselves, what does that mean about our remit? How are we doing on inflation? How are we doing on employment? We're trying not to interfere with that market signal. That's part of the reason why we've been somewhat spare in our words, why we pulled back from forward guidance. So they're reacting to events, I would say, much more directly over the 42 days since we last met. This is a good thing. As I mentioned in the prepared remarks, we've seen a material tightening, not just in nominal rates, but in real rates too. And we're observing it. We're trying to stay out of that because, many of you might be interested in our reaction function. We're interested in the reaction of financial markets.
I get that.
Okay, so there's the latest in his remarks. Again, that is the Federal Reserve Chair, Kevin Warsh, explaining his decision to hold steady on the interest rates. A lot of people are weighing in our comment section. Let me know how you guys feel about this. Keep the comments coming on in. We're nearing the end of the show, but we still got a lot more to talk about. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll regroup about some of the top stories that we're chasing tonight. We'll be right back. right, welcome back into Philadelphia Live, you guys. The news at 10 o'clock has so much in store for you. Let's start national. We'll get you that live look back out at the Seattle, where there's a large vigil taking place. People are leaving heartfelt notes, letters, also flowers for the victims of the Bite of Seattle shooting. So again, if you guys have been with us for the last couple of days, we've been telling you about this incident. 3 people killed, including one of the suspected shooters, multiple people injured, including a 2-year-old. They're saying they've got one person in custody, a 15-year-old, who looked to one of those suspects that they say was on the ground and dying at the time and said, love you, bro. They say they were able to confiscate the weapons that were used in this case. And we're still trying to figure out why someone opened fire. Our sister station is moving around, getting their live images ready for you guys as they're trying to figure out what's going on here with the vigil. We'll continue to bring you live updates throughout the evening. Again, that news continues at 10. Also, our reporters here at Philadelphia Live and Fox 29 Philadelphia are getting hyper-local stories ready for you. So Shawnette Wilson has been covering the situation. You're taking a look at, at chopper video. Police say that a man was shot in the chest. He unfortunately did not make it. His injuries were too much. They have identified him, though, as a 33-year-old man from Winslow Township. So again, our Shawnette Wilson will bring you more updates, live updates in the 10 o'clock news. This was a situation that unfolded today, so very little information that we have at this time, but she may have more available for you in just minutes. Another one of our reporters, Dawn Timney, is covering this missing case, this missing woman. Her name is Norma Yates. She disappeared about 3 years ago, but her family, the police department, they say they are not giving up, and neither should you. They're hoping that someone has information out there. Whether or not she is still alive, they still want that closure. Can someone help them find out what happened to their mother 3 years ago? Where has she been all this time? And, can they get the information that they need to move forward? That is something that Dawn Timney is looking into. She says she spoke to this woman's daughter, her oldest daughter, who's giving more information on this case. So again, that is also coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. In the meantime, we're also keeping up with some of our trending news of the day, asking you guys our question of the day. So I had to bring up Jake Leonard from our digital team here. What's going on out there?
Okay, another movie coming out. It really is like banger after banger after banger. So
okay, what's this one?
This Friday, the new Spider-Man movie is coming out. Yes, Spider-Man Brand New Day. There's been a lot going on. It is another Zendaya movie. She has been in so many. I was just talking about The Odyssey. Her and Tom Holland were both in it. She is booked and busy this summer. So it's already shaping up to be one of the biggest movies. The red carpet Zendaya is going all out.
She always does her thing. She should have been a model. She would eat the girls up if that was her career choice.
So there's a lot of talk about that, but specifically, I need to share something that happened. I'm not gonna spoil what happened, but basically, okay. So do you know Steve Lacy? He's like an R&B singer. Okay, so he just came out with a new album, and they're playing one of his songs in the movie. So he was on the red carpet, okay? And so they were asking him questions, and they're like, okay, who is your favorite character in the movie? So a little backstory: for months leading up to this movie, Sadie Sink, Sadie Sink, Stranger Things, is in it, and they have not been saying who her character is. It's a big secret. People have been I think we know who she is, but they have not been confirming it. She hasn't been in any of the promotional material.
Oh, that's crazy.
Wow. Steve Lacy is on the red carpet, and it was oh, my favorite character is blank, the character who they've been keeping under wraps. You'll just have to watch to find out, but...
Oh, on our social media, or where is it?
When the movie comes out. The movie's not even out. I can't spoil it for the people. But now people are kind of saying, well, is Marvel gonna do something? Or are they gonna take his song out? But a lot of people are he probably isn't getting the same, media training that some of the actors are, and he literally might not have known that people didn't know who her character is, because maybe he was just like, okay, like, you could use my song. I don't really know, but it is important to note that, like, Tom Holland, obviously Spider-Man, is, like, notorious for, like, spoiling things, so hopefully they go easy on Steve Lacy, but I don't know, I just thought it was kind of interesting.
I know he's kicking himself like, oh my gosh, I got the biggest like opportunity of a lifetime, and I just go blab my mouth on the red carpet.
It was so funny because he was talking to this interviewer, and when he said it, like, she was trying to play it so cool, but like she knew that she just got the biggest story from the night, like, so.
Like, thank you very much.
So. Pretty cool.
Yeah, his song will do really well as well.
Yes, of course.
Think I'm thinking about Miles Morales' Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
Sunflower with Post
Yes.
Malone and the guy from Ray Shremmerd.
Yes.
That
went blew up.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So
The Spider-Man
Steve
effect.
Lacy, we'll see what's going on with this album with the song. All right, let's show the people real quick, if we can, our question of the night. I've been asking you guys, what do you miss about childhood? Because I finally got to live out something that I've been wanting to do since little Judea could walk and talk, and that was riding in a fire truck. So we asked you, what do you miss the most? People said, not worrying about bills.
I know. I agree with that.
60%.
I agree with that.
I agree with that too. I miss those days when everything was taken care of. I just woke up, put my clothes on, went to school, and that was about it.
And vibed.
And vibed. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. I gave you a taste of what you can expect still ahead on the 10 o'clock news.
Yes.
So don't go anywhere. That continues for you right here on the free Fox local app or fox29.com/live. I've been Judea Murray. This is Jake Leonard from the digital team. You guys, good night, but don't go anywhere. News continues.